Alright, time to continue on. Blood of the Holy One. Alright, so last time we took some time and listened to Morgana's story, and we're gonna see what Michel will do in response to that. As always, the music's just... Every time I hear it, like, it just small emotions just completely fails me. I'm unable to make a noise. The obstruction is less mental and more physical. The excruciating pain is so intense I can't even eke out a scream. My vision is distorted. My mind is thick with fog. I feel like I'll fall into a bottomless pit if I loosen my grip on my consciousness even slightly. Through the haze, I see my own severed left arm, reflected in a pool of blood. I see my face, large chunks of flesh peeling off. Content warning for everyone once again. I think I should start putting that in the titles for these. I don't know where to do that on this. Oh, I should really learn how to do that. Look at you trying to crawl up the stairs like a worm. How pathetic. It's like I'm looking at my old self. I can barely form a coherent thought. I can't lament her inhuman fate. Can't mourn for her. Or be shocked by the revelation about the three men in her history with them. Pain. It fills every corner of my mind. Every nook and cranny of my body. You figured it out by now, haven't you, my dear? You'll never make it to me. It's not possible. But it's not your fault. It's not because you're weak. There's simply no one who can bear this pain. You're allowed to give up, to rest. There's nothing wrong with that. The pain, the crushing weight, it's miserable, isn't it? But all you have to do is turn back, and it'll all go away. The witch whispers her sweet temptations. You've put in a fine effort. There's no shame at all in throwing in the towel. Her voice is soft, gentle, pleasant, saccharine. Concede defeat. If I do, it'll all go away. The searing pain spreading from the stump of my left arm. The sensations of being perpetually drained of my blood. The miserable solitude of staring at a door that never opens. The laughter I could hear through the window. My miserable wailing and this maddening hatred. I can end it all. That's right, it will all be over. You have the power to make it stop. Make it all stop. No. I can't let that happen. No, I have to. I have to get back to her. Back at my side. I'll do anything to take her back. Even if it means I end up 1,000 tiny scraps of me. I will not give up on her for any reason. You won't, will you? Oh, such beautiful resolve. Willing to sacrifice yourself to save the girl? Like a hero of legend. Or maybe a fairy tale prince? No. I'm no hero and I'm no prince. I'm a human, an ordinary man. I don't have any extraordinary potential. I'm not a courageous leader or charismatic general. I'm just a regular man, in love with a regular woman, who refuses to lose it. I don't need any other accomplishments, only that. That's all I need, because I'm just a regular man. My one act of resistance. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter how much you cut me up. Nothing changes what I have to do. I have to take her back and set her free of this mansion. Nothing else. And never will I back down on that. Arms or no, as long as I can move, I must push forward. I must make my way to the woman who waited for me so long. Up, to the top of the tower. Forward, ever onward. Dragging my bloody body, paying the pain no mind, I once more arrive at the top of the observation tower. I place my hand on the door, holding myself up with my lacerated right arm. I take a moment to catch my breath, then lift my head, gaze into the void and shout her name. Morgana! I pity you. I truly do. You are a saint shackled with an unfathomable fate, and for that I am enraged. As I felt your pain as I watched your life, I too felt a burning hatred for those three men. If you truly feel that way, then why can't you stay here with me? We're all dead anyway. We've reached our ends. Do you honestly think there's anything more for us? There isn't. The end is the end. So what do you say, the three of us, me, you, and Giselle, torture the three of them and everyone they cared about? Make them suffer here for all eternity, in this house. And that way you and Giselle can be together forever too. That's not an option. Why not? Because hatred only brings you pain. Ha. Oh, that's brilliant. You spouting stupid platitudes in it. I can't believe my ears. Save your nonsense moralizing about how hatred does you no good. I won't hear it. I'm doing just fine for myself, dear. In fact, I've never been better. I feel wonderful. Did you think that would be enough to persuade me? Really? Ah, how disappointing. And here I thought you understood me. Morgana, why don't you say what you really think? Go right ahead, hate them as much as you want, but keep me and Giselle out of it. Why didn't you just say that? I do feel bad, truthfully, for all the time we spent together. Never once did I ask you about your life. Hello, Evie. Michel just endured going through the entire staircase, bleeding without an arm, and now he's confronting Morgana, who's like, yeah, no, revenge is great, actually. I don't know what you're talking about. Which in many cases, yeah, it's the same sort of moralizing that's like, you can never use violence to fight oppression in any ways whatsoever. Oftentimes, it is a platitude just for people to hold on to the power they do have. But what sort of life is Morgana living, actually? And in the end, I pushed you away. That you did. You wanted to be with Giselle, so you pushed me out. I wish I had asked you sooner. It wouldn't have changed anything, though. One puny man knowing what I went through would hardly be enough to erase the loathing I bear. It would have turned out the same regardless. There was nothing you could have done for me. Hello, Mosca. We're continuing on, and you know exactly where we are. I am still happy that this was interesting enough that you decided to go read it yourself. It really deserves it. There's nothing you could have done for me. There is nothing. Still, I would like to apologize. Had I known what you carried in your heart, perhaps I could have chosen my words better. Instead of rejecting you, I could have chosen some other response. I cannot remain in this house, nor can I allow her to stay either. So I'd like to apologize for both my past actions and my present. Well, in that case, open the door, Michel. I take another moment to catch my breath, and then I gather my strength at the hands on the door. Blood seeps from my fingertips, slowly trickling down the rough surface. It reminds me of my death. I'm coming for you. I push open the door, praying that will be the last, that beyond it lies light for Giselle. And if possible, then I might cast a bit of light on Morgana's heart as well. Oh, however, why am I in my bedroom? What I find behind the door is the last thing I expect. Yeah, I listen to this soundtrack quite often, and like Giselle, like the Giselle's theme never fails to like make me feel like, you know, things will get better. As she appears from the shadows of my chamber, I can't conceal my surprise. Giselle, is this another illusion, Morgana? No, it's not. I'm the real me. Thank you for coming all the way here for me. She's thanking me. So why isn't she smiling? That was very kind and courageous of you, Michel. I'm deeply moved you would have some compassion not only for her, but for someone like me. But do you know what else you are? You're a worm. What is it this time, Morgana? What do you say we pull back the curtain, my dear? What curtain? There's one detail that hasn't come to light. This isn't your first return to the mansion, is it? You've been back numerous times, each time not remembering her, each time hurting her even more. What are you talking about? What am I talking about? Oh, you know good and well, my dear. Or do you honestly believe that all the other pieces were in their rightful places, and you alone were some exception? I never. Tell me, how was it? Living in so many different eras, not knowing who you were, and playing with all the different men. No, you're out of your mind. You make it sound like I was not like, my dear. You are the white-haired girl. Enough. How could anyone possibly confuse me with her? To tell you the truth, I couldn't see you as anyone else. Your white hair, red eyes, porcelain skin, and your name. Tell me, what about you isn't the same? We're not the same person. I saw the letter. What? The one you had hidden? No. And you didn't think that was worth mentioning? No, Giselle, I didn't. You're exactly right, my dear Giselle. He deceived you. He kept a very important secret from you. Despite showing up before you multiple times, he cast you aside again and again. No, that wasn't me, was it? It all makes sense now. Nothing you ever did was for me. Giselle, Go on, Giselle. Tell him exactly how you feel. Michel. Please don't say it, not that, please, I'm begging you. Stop, please, don't, Giselle. Not actually. Please. Don't say it. A man at all, are you? You're disgusting. Yeah, I'm actually tearing up a bit. You're the only one who could have been, my dear. The only one who could have been the white-haired girl. The next moment, my whole world comes tumbling down. This is like all those terrible thoughts in your head that don't really make sense manifest at once. Even just the idea that the white-haired girl is Michel, to Michel would be soul-crushing. It's like this, like his sense of like gender identity is like, this is completely fake. When I was reborn, it's gone, and right, and it's like, just, it's soul-crushing. Comes tumbling down. I could have borne anything. Losing my arm, having my face torn off. Any amount of pain, I could have handled it. For you, I could have done it. But this, hearing those words coming from your mouth, being rejected by you, that I cannot. Those words, they bury me alive. And you're the one person I never wanted to hear them from. When I learned my father Antonin had passed, I wrote 2 letters, one to my brother and one to my mother. It was the first time I had found the courage to face my mother, to open up to her. I wanted to show her who I was, convince her that I wasn't cursed, so I could be myself when I returned to the capital witch's L. Dear mother, there's something I wish to tell you. Something that means a great deal to me. So that I ask you, please hear me out. And I ask you, please accept it. Mother, I no longer bear any resentment for my present lot in life. Nevertheless, I would ask you to concede one thing, that I was never cursed, that I was always your son, that I am Michel and not Michel. I have found someone who I care for dearly, a woman, and I love her with all my heart. I would like to spend the rest of my life with her. I do not wish for much, simply to have a quiet life with her, to go through our days together man and woman. That is the one thing I want. Mother, I know you're aware that my body is no longer female. I am a man. My heart is male, and I ask of you to please accept that. I have no grudge with you. In fact, I'm incredibly grateful to you for bringing me into this world. With love, your dearest son. Shortly after sending the letter, I was killed. I'm dragged down, against my will, into the darkness. Beneath me spreads my own past. My door, the door I swore to never open. But despite all my efforts to resist, the door sucks me into a world I never want to see again, a history I never wanted revealed, a past I never wanted anyone to see. Nonetheless, the door opens. The 7th door. $10.86. There were 2 things out of the ordinary about that baby. The first its parents embraced, the second they wholly rejected. Although, it was some time before the baby's second peculiarity emerged. Until it finally did, no one was any wiser. Not even the child itself. Its mother surely enjoyed that brief period of happiness, before her child finally realized the truth, blind to the fact that the moment it had let out its first cry, everything came crashing down. To this day, she still doesn't know, the child she gave birth to, that she let loose a curse upon the world, a curse that turned angels into demons, humans into witches. My god, look at that. She's beautiful, isn't she? Have you seen her laugh? Not yet, I haven't. At any rate, that color certainly is something else. God's gift to us. No, she's an angel sent from heaven. An angel. Yes, I can see it now, lady. Her white hair and almost translucent skin, it's beautiful. My, she opened her eyes. Oh, maybe she felt you nearby. Do you like your father more than me? Is it, sweetheart? Gorgeous, aren't they? Such a deep, enchanting color, like 2 little jewels. Ah, that they are. A magnificent shade of red. I've never seen anything like it. This is our child. She's special, I can feel it. We had to take good care of her. She needs a name, one that's just as special as her. Have you already chosen, Antonin? You were the one begging for a girl. You do it. Besides, I already racked my brain for the boys' names. Now it's your turn. Are you really going to let me? My, that's quite a lot of pressure. Name her after an angel, then. Oh, I like that. All right, then. We'll call her Michel after the Archangel Michael. You grow up to be as beautiful as an angel, my Michel. I've always wanted a little girl. With her snowy white hair, skin so pale that you could see the veins beneath it, and her ruby red eyes. She was a very peculiar looking little girl, and her mother showered her with love. She truly believed her daughter was an angel sent from above, born as a human child. The blessed babe, born as a girl, was given an angel's name, Michel. Me. Checkmate. Gah. Oh, I see, that's what you did. Curses, I completely overlooked that. I thought you were advancing with your pawns, but that was all just a diversion. You're too short-sighted, Didier. You need to look at the big picture. Sometimes it's the tactician, not the soldier, holding the sword. You got me. You're quite good at this, Michel. What's inspired you to take such an aggressive strategy? It was not inspiration. It was derivation. Derivation. Just as many ways similar to real war tactics. Ah, my military texts. You haven't read all of them, have you? I have nothing but time. Impressive, even I hadn't read all the books in my room. Plan to join the order with that kind of knowledge? You jest. You're the one who's going to be a knight, did you? That I am. War is the men's job, after all. I want you to be there to welcome me home. Did you? I'm in a bit of a bind. Could you... Oh, hello there, Michel. Oh, I didn't know you were home, Georg. Just got back, yep. Oh, playing chess again, are you? Let's see, what you have here? Get away from the board. Yikes, you got trounced. And you call yourself her big brother. As if you're any better. That's not funny, Georg. I can't improve as someone who can't keep up with the flow battle becoming a knight. Given our family's rank, you'd eventually be put in charge of other soldiers. What are you worried about me? No, I'm saying... I've been blessed with such a caring sister. But fear not. I have a guardian angel after all. Where's the logic in that? Sorry to interrupt your, moment, but... Does nobody listen to me? Now, don't pout. Now, what seems to be the problem, Georg? Yes, listen to this. The Royal Court is holding a swordsmanship show, and for some reason, I was selected to participate. How unfortunate for you. I can already see you on the ground sobbing. Hey, now, that's just mean. Besides, my hands weren't meant to hold the sword. Look at these dainty fingers. They're covered in calluses. Dainty calluses. Tell me, why would they have an artist's sword fight? That's the whole point, I would think. No need to get so worked up. No one's expecting you to win. Maybe not, but we do have a name to worry about. And you know what that means, don't you? I'm going to lose, that's a given. But I want to do it in style. I feel bad for your sword. Oh, don't be like that. Oh, come on, time's a wasted. To the courtyard we go. Just so you know, if I train you, I'm going to train you right. All I want to know is how to look good. What is it, Michel? May I watch? Fine with me, but you know you can't go outside. I'll be watching from the hall. I can open one of the windows facing the courtyard. Still, you need to be careful. You can't spend too much time in the sun. I know. I had two older brothers. The eldest, Didier, belonged to an order of knights that served the church. And below him was Georg, who served as the court artist. He was in all likelihood who would inherit the family estate, as knights were not formally allowed to own property. Nevertheless, the Boulanger family was upheld by Didier. And then there was me, the youngest, the only daughter. Physically, I was not in particularly good health. Because of the color of my skin, I was hypersensitive to sunlight. I rarely left the estate. My world was contained entirely within these walls, and perhaps out of some sense of pity or compassion, my two brothers spent a good deal of time with me. Didier played chess with me, and Georg taught me how to draw. And among the other things, they taught me how to read and write. For a girl, I was incredibly fortunate. The one thing I wasn't allowed to do, though, was hold a sword. While hardly anything was unusual, it bothered me deeply, and had for as long as I could remember. If I had been told I couldn't do it because I lacked the strength, I probably would have accepted it. But the reason given was not that I was weak, but that I was a girl. And with each passing year, the smoldering frustration on the back of my heart grew larger. Come on, put your back into it. Like you said, all I want was to put on a good show. Oh, you'll put on quite a show, unless you learn how to swing that sword properly. Give me a break. Out in the garden, my two brothers traded wings bare-chested. All I could do, though, was observe from afar. And every time I found myself forced to watch, I felt a sharp pain like a needle piercing my chest. A needle that seemed to be growing ever thicker. My mother and my brothers loved me dearly, but that didn't change the fact that the outside world lay beyond my reach. I was trapped in the estate by my own body. At first I thought that was the root of my pain, but that answer seemed to contradict something inside me. Something I couldn't explain. Something I couldn't ignore even as a child. So I searched within myself, trying to find an explanation for constantly selling sensation of wrongness inside me. Day after day I gazed into the cavern of my own heart. My mind, now what are the two of them doing out there? Georg was asking to do a swordsman show at the Royal Court, so Diddy is helping him. Swordsmanship, oh, I just can't stand those shows. Blades are so dangerous, I can't watch people swinging them at each other. Why don't you come back to your room with me, Michel? I would love to teach you how to sew. But Mom, I want to watch them practice. Michel. First of all, you need to watch how you speak, young lady. You do not call me Mom, you call me Mother. This is what happens when you spend so much time around boys. As your mother, I don't approve you playing chess or making art. A woman has no need for such skills. They'll only make you look insolent. But I want you to grow up to be a respectable woman. That is my job and my dream as your mother. Now come. I would rather you looked at some fine embroidery with me than a couple sweaty men. Yes, Mother. You are my little girl, after all. Spending time with my mother was agonizing. Was it because her world was so isolated? No, that wasn't it. Her gentle voice, the sweet scent of her perfume. The way she constantly told me how much she loved me, and her diatribes about how wonderful it was to be with her. Everything she did put so much pressure on me. But above all, she loved to say, "You are my little girl, after all." And there was nothing strange about that at all. Every time I looked in the mirror, I saw the daughter of a noble. That was who I was. So the only thing wrong was how I felt. But every time I was faced with reality who I was, my heart wavered. I had no interest in learning how to embroider. I didn't understand why that was necessary. I knew what purpose it served. Everything she taught me I would need when I was wed off to some noble boy, and that was my responsibility to learn those things. It didn't feel right, though. I couldn't even accept the fact that one day I would be married. It was put an ominous shadow looking at my future. I would have preferred ravaging the books in Didier's room more than having a conversation with my mother. Tales of heroes of old and dauntless soldiers. Military texts written by tacticians in the midst of war. Think about them set my heart aflutter and made me think about my brother. He was training to be a knight. I envisioned armor flecked with rust. A long sword glimmering with the blood of savages. Blood of savages, huh? Well, that is what Michel would have been taught. Soon I found myself in my fantasies, imagining how the sword will feel in my hands. The sensation of the hilt beneath my fingers. Swinging it gallantly, like my brother. How heavy was it? How much muscle would I need to carry it? How much impact would I feel in my hand when I struck something? How restricted would my vision be wearing a helmet? How much did it weigh? How hot was it inside? I had no way of answering any of those questions, though. One thing I can't believe is how barbarian managed to stick, despite it being a Roman word for non-Romans, and basically an insult on like their language sounds like nothing. It's like bar, and it's like it is unbelievable that managed to stick to the point where it's a fantasy trope. Oh, kill me now. I have some cloth if you'd like to wipe yourself off. Oh yeah, thanks. Oh, I'm so dead. Villain is a classist term too, and we've talked about that before. It literally just means farmer. Because of course, evil people in stories can only be from the lower class. Language is wild. You were at it for a long time. By the way, what are your thoughts on all this happening so far? Mm. I've never known D to half-ass something once he gets started, which I guess is what makes him knight material. But are you opposed to him becoming a knight? Well, I kind of assumed he'd inherit the state and take care of everything. So it's like, why's he gotta go and be some priest whipping boy? Don't tell him I said that. He wants to fight for the greater good. I don't know, despite the name, he wouldn't do much fighting himself. Anyway, someone as passionate as him might be able to make changes for the better. Changes? He knows what condition the order's in. That's why he's joined. The greater good. Ah. Yeah. Figure he wants to whip him into shape, melt him down, and reforce the whole thing. So he might be able to change things. What are you muttering about, Michel? Hey, whoa, hold it. The pain I felt in my chest when I smelled the sweat emanated from Georg's body, where I looked a slender but distinctly male build. I was convinced it was admiration. Did I want to become a knight too? Maybe the discomfort I felt was because I wanted to be like him? Would it all go away if he were able to change the rules and I could join the order as well? I was positive it would. Didier. Michel, hold on. You can't come barging into my room unannounced. I'm trying to change. We need to talk. I said stop. You're a girl. You can't just walk in on a man as he's changing. I see no reason for you to be self-conscious. Listen to me, Michel. Georg tells me you're planning to overhaul the order. He told you that? No, I have hardly such grand aspirations. Don't be coy. I believe you have what it takes to do it, Didier. What's gotten into you? You're unusually fiery today. So I want to ask you a favor. When you have enough influence in the order, I would like you to make me a knight too. You what? I'm tired of the way Mother treats me. Always saying I can't do this or that because I'm a girl. I want to learn how to swing a sword. I don't want to do embroidery. I don't care about jewelry or fancy clothing. Michel, what's gotten into you? I'm so much more interested in the world you live in, Didier. So please. Well, I'll be. I suppose we must have let ourselves spend too much time with you. No, you too. That's exactly what Mother said. First of all, Michel, you don't have the strength to hold the sword. Then I'll train until I do. And if that doesn't work, I still have my mind. You know how good and well I could... People are not chess pieces, Michel. But Didier... But above all, you're missing the most important part. I will not for any reason become the kind of man who makes a woman take up a sword. Didier... This may seem normal to you growing up with two brothers, but I wanted you to listen to me, Michel. Men and women walk different paths. Men wield swords and fight against dangerous enemies, and they do so to protect the weak and women and children. I'm here to protect you and your mother. Look at these lies, and also extreme sexism. You're no different than her. You don't treat me any different than her. Honestly, what's gotten into you, Michel? Why wouldn't I treat you like the daughter of the Bollinger estate? Your brother and I, we never meant to make you think. Forget it. What? I'm sorry, I knew what I was asking was foolish. Oh. But I thought you would understand how I feel. Even just a little bit. Well, was I expecting him to understand? Even if I didn't understand, even I didn't understand the things I felt. I want to know that what had gotten into me far more than he did. What I had done was no better than throwing a temper tantrum. Was I that desperate to become a knight? No. I had just thought that the keys to my chain and my heart lay down that road. But ultimately, there was nothing. Assuming Didier had agreed, and assuming I did become a knight, it wouldn't do anything for the core problem. As I dashed from my brother's room, I snuck a peek at him. His face was filled with an intense perplexity. And how could I blame him? I had tried to push a dozen different ideals on to him at once, filled myself with a vain hope that he would somehow be able to make sense of me when I couldn't even make sense of myself. And now, bubbling with unwarranted anger at being left down, I fled to my own chambers. I couldn't imagine how frustrated that must have been for him. It is the spring of my 14th year. Heavy clouds filled the sky, blocking out the sun and giving the impression of late evening all throughout the day. I, for one, preferred it when the sun wasn't out. Not that sunlight would kill me, but it was bright enough the whole world was so white I could hardly see a thing, which meant I could only go outside on days when the weather made most everyone else gloomy. As I was meandering through the courtyard, I spotted someone I had never seen before. A warm breeze blew past, sending a swirl of flower petals. I'm sure you remember Amy. Amoska? The girl's dress hung lightly over her frame, tracing her gentle curves. Who are you? I asked bluntly, and the girl twirled around, smiling. My apologies. You have such a beautiful courtyard. I just let myself in for a little walk. Long chestnut hair flowed over her round feminine shoulders. It swayed slightly in the wind. The cloud of melancholy dissipated in the light of her smile. You must be Michel. You're just as pretty as I heard. And you are? My name is Amy. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. Finally meet me? What was she talking about? As I stood there baffled by the strange woman, she stepped toward me, kissing me softly on the cheek. I'm thrilled to make your acquaintance, Michel. Her voice was like someone pouring honey into my ear, electrifyingly sweet. I'm Georg's fiancé. And it also struck another needle into my chest. Our poor boy. She was a noble girl by the name of Amy Jobert. Though only 15, she was the very image of refined, polished to a shine. No one had told me my brother was to be married. It came out of nowhere, and it seemed I was the only one who didn't know. That evening, when the family gathered around the table for supper, Amy was there too, and they prepared an extravagant feast for the occasion. My father Antoinette looked so proud of his two boys, Didier soon to receive his assignment, and Georg soon to be wed. The banquet proceeded smoothly. Not a doubt in the air that we were a happy family. But my mind was elsewhere. I found myself unconsciously chasing Amy with my eyes, watching the way those slender fingers gripped her spoon, her full lips parting to allow a piece of food in, her deep red tongue visible for only the briefest of moments, the way all the muscles in her face seemed to relax in bliss as sweet juices seeped into her mouth, the way she spoke, so soft and gentle, letting each sound hang in the air just briefly before intoning the next. She was distinctly feminine, in a way other than my mother. Apparently Amy was going to be living in the Bollinger estate for some time. Mother was pleased to have another girl around. Or more specifically, she was relieved to find someone other than my brothers for me to spend time with. I'd assumed I would hate being around another girl. Surely she wouldn't be able to play chess after all. But for some reason, I felt much less suffocated around her than my mother. One night, Amy's family, an array of nobles from both houses, social circles assembled at the estate for a party. A din of the likes which I had never heard in my life, it filled the great hall. Everywhere I looked, there were people. Servants scrambled every which way, silverware clanged against dishes in the almost constant hum. Voices from all directions. I felt moderately ill. Hey D, I feel like we're critically short on waiters. This doesn't look good for both of us. And who was it who went about inviting everyone he came across again? Who are these people? They're artists like me. I met them at the court. Let's see, we have some painters, composers, sculptors, troubadours, poets, writers, you name it. None of them have any connections to the Jobo or the Bollingers. Sure they do, they're my friends. And you know, this is me and Ame's party. Yeah, you can play with your friends elsewhere. I hope you realize you have a reputation to uphold. Off in one corner, several men, presumably Georg's friends, gathered in a circle. They stood out from the other aristocrats, both in appearance and the air they gave off. The clothes they wore, the embroidery hidden beneath their jacket cuffs. The manner of speech, the way they held themselves. They're simply put, a far cry from the hard-headed Didier's ideal party guests. Even watching them from afar, it's clear my two brothers ran in very different crowds. The only reason headstrong Didier and free-spirited Georg were able to get along at all was because they were brothers. If they had been strangers, I doubt their paths would cross much, and if they did, those intersections would be quite rocky. Hey, come here, guys. Georg's shouting voice pulled my preoccupied mind back to the surface. He summoned his friends, and led them to where I stood. What are you doing hiding in the corner, Michel? I didn't even notice you. Allow me to introduce you to a few of my friends. No, Georg put his hands on my shoulder, peeling me off the wall and standing me in front of his male friends. Socialization was the last thing on my mind. I searched for Didier, hoping he would come to my rescue, but he was off trading pleasantries, facing away from me. This is my baby sister, Michel. Be nice. Georg, I don't... Gracious, your skin is even more pale than I imagined. It's like something out of a fairy tale. Why have you never brought her with you to the court? She'd be a sure hit. And how old are you now? 12, maybe? Now, don't treat a lady like a child. I'll have you know, she's 14. All the more reason she should be out there making friends. The whole court of flip than you had such a gorgeous sister, Georg. Don't be a brute, my man. Our little angel has to be kept inside for personal reasons. Sounds like I haven't been shown the lady her due respect. I've yet to even properly introduce myself. How rude indeed. Their last grated on my nerves, and so did the way Georg spoke as though I was his property. They looked like they were praising me, which made me sick to my stomach. I'd been paying enough attention to notice a man who had asked if I was 12, and the rest of them too examined me from head to toe in search of curves. I was indeed underdeveloped for 14. But what did that matter? I didn't want a body shaped like Annie's or my mother's. Now then, my lady, a proper greeting. The man got down on his knee before me. For a split second, I didn't comprehend what he was doing. Go on, Michel. He's waiting. He whispered into my ear. That was when it all came back to me. The traditional greeting performed between a man and a woman. Come on, Michel, don't tell me you forgot what to do. I knew the process. I had the knowledge. Mother had taught me the rules, shown me the procedure. I was to present my hand to the man for him to kiss. All I had to do was hold out my hand, but I was frozen. My body fought tooth and nail against the simple act. The thought of that man putting his lips on my skin sent a chill through me. Why was this a traditional greeting? Why did I have to go through with this? Michel! The sound of Jared's frantic voice, my arm creaked up from my side. Then I remembered that despite being his friends, they were still nobility. As wanton as social interactions may have been, he still had a reputation to maintain. And I understood that. I also understood that as their sister was my responsibility not to do anything that might tarnish either of my brothers' names. Also by tradition, the man wasn't supposed to actually kiss the woman's hand. The proper way to do it simply required a mimic act rather than make real contact. That much I could handle. The man kneeling before me gave an uncomfortable chuckle at my reluctance, shrugged and reverently took my hand in his, and then he pressed his lip firmly against my skin. There was a vaguely warm sensation on the back of my hand for the briefest moment. What do you... Reflexively, I smacked the man's hand away. Georg's eyes went wide and hard, and the man gave another playful shrug. I was merely offering you a greeting, my lady. Or is that even a new experience to you? Your innocence is truly precious. I was half a second away from throwing a barrage of insults, but I bit my tongue and stomped off instead. What? I had spent all the time convincing myself I couldn't humiliate my brothers, but now I wouldn't hear a word of it. I had drawn a fair bit of attention, and other people tried to stop me too. But I brushed them all off, marching my way out of the great hall. I feel so dirty. You called that a greeting? No, that was no greeting, that was... I'll be taking that. I say, practically swiping a glass of water off the passing waiter's tray. With it, I washed my hands by the window facing the courtyard. But no matter how much water I poured over it, I couldn't erase the sickening sensation of his mouth on my hand. So I rubbed it with my sleeve until my skin was bright red. I wanted to feel something else, anything else, even pain. Think before you act, Georg. What were you doing inviting people like that into our home? I was angry and had every right to be. He had not performed the proper greeting. Even in jest, he had no business actually putting his lips on my hand. It was not acceptable behavior for a nurse staff. He was a guest. He should have... Was I angry that he'd been disrespectful? No, that wasn't the reason. That wasn't very nice of you running off like that. At the sound of his voice, I couldn't turn back. I felt a sickening warmth almost directly against my back. The man from the great hall grabbed me by the wrists, spun me around and pressed me up against the wall. The bitter scent of wine wafted from above. What the hell are you doing? I tried to slick it down to get away from him. That was when reality sunk in. I couldn't do it. All the strength I could muster wasn't enough to make the man's hand budge. My arms were locked in place. I didn't think he was especially strong either. He was hardly built like Didier. And still I couldn't move an inch. You got a tongue like a boy, my lady. But I know some people are fond of that these days. Can't say I mind myself. Let go! I'd always been this feeble. Were my arms truly so worthless I couldn't even escape this brute's grip? Why did I have to get stuck with his body? Now just so we're clear, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm no monster, I promise you that. Then why are you holding me against the wall? Because I want a chance to try to move you. I apologize if I made you uncomfortable back there, but the second I laid eyes on you, I know you were a keeper. What an asshole. Like, Then let go of me. But if I do that, you'll run away. And if that's my personal rule to never let go of anything I like. Your brother says you can't go outside, so if I set you loose now, I might never get a chance to catch you again. I wanted to vomit. Apparently taking my silence for approval, the man perked up and kept going. If you're not accustomed to being around men, then why not use this opportunity to get familiar? Not a half bad idea if I do say so myself. And I think we'd get along quite well. Besides, I'm a minstrel. Spend some time with me, I'll write all the songs you could possibly want. Get away from me! Ah, you really do have the most striking eyes. It makes me want to keep them all for myself. With a muse like you, I could write the most incredible songs you've ever heard. I said get back, you creep! Huh, that's odd. That one's never failed me. The man brought his face in just inches from mine and peered into my eyes. I could feel his hot and stench breath against my cheeks. It gave me the chills. I couldn't understand why this was happening to me. Panic and confusion had my heart racing. Go try your luck with someone else. I'm not interested. You will be soon enough, darling. You've simply never known a man's touch. Jesus Christ. He drew closer. He was already practically on top of me, but he still closed in. Closer and closer. The world faded out. I couldn't see anything. I could feel its rising body heat so near me it made me nauseous. My eyes flung open, but there was nothing here. I only felt. I could only feel. I couldn't move. My body wouldn't budge. In my mind, I kicked the man away, pulled my fist back and slammed into his jaw. Again and again and again until his face was unrecognizable. Again and again and again I beat him. But reality would have none of that. Michel! Hey, what do you think you're doing? 3 seconds, 10 seconds longer. I had no idea how much time I'd lost. But the next thing I knew, Georg had the man by the collar. I fell back against the wall, staring absentmindly as the two struggled. They traded blows and they traded insults. Before long, they had drawn a crowd. While they went at it, I distractedly drifted away. And I only had one place to go. I didn't even bother to light a candle. I just stared into the darkness. My heartbeat was maddeningly loud in my otherwise silent chambers. What had happened? What had he done to me? Why couldn't I do anything? Last thing I wanted to do was cry. Tears would only serve to worsen my humiliation. Only magnify how wretched I was. Only make me more of it. I bit down on my lip hard. I had no need for that trash in my body. I dug my nails into my arm. I had no need for that trash in my body. All of this, every last bit of it. That was why I was the way I was. I didn't know how to put it into words. I didn't know how to express this boundless frustration within me. But after enough wordless groaning, a single word slipped from my lips, and it felt incredibly right. God damn it! I knew good and well a girl should not be using such words. Even Didier and Georg would have gotten an earful from mother or father if they were caught saying that. Regardless, God damn it! It was the most fitting word I could come up with to represent even the smallest bit of my anger and loathing. I knew I was doing what I was doing, shifting the blame. That all I would do was accomplish making me look pitiful, but I would take that over crying like a girl any day. I let loose a sigh that was halfway being a scream and started clawing wildly at my hair. I wanted to yank out every last strand of it. I didn't want it. I didn't want any of it. Any of this body. But in that case, what did I want from my body? Michel, may I come in, Michel? It was Georg's voice, slightly muffled through the door. The man who invited those people into his house. I'd be lying if I said I didn't hold that against him. Michel. But at the same time, he'd also come to my rescue. Besides, I hated myself the most. I despised myself for being so helpless. I'm sorry, Michel, I didn't mean to hurt you. It's not locked. After a few moments of silence, Georg stepped into my room. Your hair's a mess, Michel. Oh my god, you're bleeding. That was when he first noticed the stinging sensation on my lower lip. A metallic taste spread through my mouth. I'd been biting it much harder than I realized, and there was a lot more blood than I expected. A trail of it was running down my chin, second from spilling to my clothes when Georg wiped it away. I'm really sorry, Michel. He can be a real ass when he drinks. And he's a bit of a womanizer at that. I never expected he'd try to go after you, though. I'm really sorry, I didn't mean for this to happen. But, there's a chance he may have, genuinely taken a liking. Georg! This is not the thing you should be doing, buddy. That just makes it worse. Sorry, you're right. You want to be a man with your life, I understand. He ran his hand through my hair, trying to calm me down. At the same time, cleaning out the mess I had made of it. It made me feel like it was some kind of plaything. A joke of it all. I don't want to be with anyone. I would never ever be comfortable with a man putting his hands on me like that. However, I'm sure you'll find someone eventually, Michel. Someone that feels right for you. I feel kind of awful for introducing you to him, but there are plenty of men in the world. You might not be interested now, but that'll change soon. It's part of growing up. You'll be best off forgetting today ever happened. I was dead certain, but apparently that wasn't enough to convince him. The very idea that I might one day meet a man who I wanted to touch made my skin crawl. Why? Why did I feel like this? Was I just not interested in men? No, if that were the case, I wouldn't admire my brother's bodies. I didn't have an aversion to men. In fact, I enjoyed spending time with my brothers far more than indulging my mother in her woman's world. And what I couldn't stand was the particular look men would sometimes give me. But why? Why did I not like that? I had no answer. My thoughts were only going in circles. Are you okay, Michel? He peered down at me, his face twisted in concern. But I couldn't answer him. How was I supposed to articulate this? My anger, my frustrations, my irritation, my fear. I had no confidence he would understand. Georg, how's Michel? Amy's voice came from the doorway. Inexplicably, I felt like someone had stuck their hand to my chest and was now squeezing my heart. Like I'd been just caught in a compromising situation by the last person I wanted to see me. Yeah, she's doing good, aren't you? Yes, I'm fine. Glad to hear it. I was clearly lying, not even looking with the eyes when I said that. But that seemed to have gone over Georg's head. Amy, on the other hand. You don't look fine at all. She said, a hint of pain in her voice, then entered the room. Georg, Father was asking for you. He says it's time to bring the gathering to a close. You should get going. I'll stay here with her. Oh, is he? Alright then. Sounds good. Once the sound of Georg's footsteps faded into nothing, Amy took a seat beside me. Without warning, wrapped her arms around my shoulder. It's much better to talk to another girl at times like this. My heart leapt into my throat, but beyond the shock I also found myself welcoming the warmth. It was pleasant, unlike the man's. That must have been terrifying. But don't worry, you're safe now. It wasn't really, no. No need to pretend, sweetie. If a man had me pinned against a wall, I'd be scared too. I mean it, I wasn't scared. I'm just disappointed in myself. Alright, I believe you. You're a strong girl, Michel. There aren't many who wouldn't have been scared. I'll be sure to give Georg a stern talk to you about his choice in friends. Something I learned today is that he's somewhat of a pushover. You're a lot more tenacious than I thought. As a woman in this world, you have to be. And if you're not, well, you'll figure it out soon enough, Michel. Of course, even as strong as you are, I'm sure it'll still be difficult to forget what happened to you today. Georg had told me to forget it as soon as possible, and I admit that I wouldn't be able to. Was it the difference in their individual perspectives? Was it the difference between the way men and women thought? I wasn't sure. As my head rested against her breast, a bit of my frustration slipped out. I couldn't move my arms at all. He didn't even seem all that strong. I couldn't believe that I was really so weak. That's just the way of the world, Michel. Men are physically stronger than women. So almost never, no matter what. You're not any weaker than any normal girl. Don't blame yourself. Though it wasn't the consolation I'd hoped for, her words still filled me with more. I'd exploited my own weakness to hear more of that soothing voice. And I alone knew how foolish I was in doing so. Amy frequently visited my chambers. I didn't know if it was mother's request or her own volition, but I prayed it was the latter. She's a very touchy-feely person, and she seemed to have a particular fondness for playing with my hair. Whenever her voice danced its way into my ears, it would wreak havoc inside me, being enveloped in her scent day after day, stoke the fire growing within me. I did my best to remain as straight-faced as possible because the last thing I wanted was her catching on. I understood the things I was feeling were untoward, to say the least. Your hair's so utterly enchanting. I've never seen hair so white before. And I think having a color is much prettier. Oh well, Georg says white is the most difficult color to make with paint. There's no greater challenge than capturing the beauty of true white. Living with such a splendid example of the color must have given me a very high standard of quality. Say, Michel, maybe you could tell me about yourself today. I'd love to get to know you better. Tell you about myself? Yeah, we could become even better friends if we found some mutual interests. I enjoy playing chess, and I consider myself quite good. Oh my, chess. I've never played. You're such a bright girl, Michel. Would you like to try? I could teach you. I appreciate the offer, but I think I'll pass. I doubt it would be any good. Oh, okay. What else is there? Say favorite kind of flower, fragrance, color, gemstone. Are there any embroidery patterns you're particularly skilled at? I don't have any favorites now. I'm not especially good with the needle either. No, do you have shaky hands then? I wouldn't say that now. I'm fairly good with a knife, I think. A knife? Oh, like a kitchen knife? No, a sculpting knife. Sculpting? Is that really so strange? It's a bit unusual, I'd say. But Georg does it all the time. His room is practically made of wood chips and charcoal and paint. Georg's an artist and a man. There's nothing unusual about him doing some sculpting. Why is it okay for him, but not for me? Does being a girl really make that much of a difference? Well, why don't we practice embroidery together, Michel? I get the feeling you spent too much time with your brothers. But now you have me. I'm sure it won't be long before you appreciate how much fun cooking and needlework can be. She sounds just like Mother, and she gives the same reason too. Because I'm a girl. But that's not an explanation. It's a vague generalization. That said, if I agree, I could spend more time with her. Okay. Wonderful, we'll come up with beautiful designs together. And when you've made something you're proud of, you can give it to a boy you can't try. Sculpting the devil's art. Or if you preferred, you could give it to your father or brother. I'd like Georg to have what I make, though. Oh, I've been wondering, did you and Georg meet at the royal court? Oh, heavens no. I've never been to the court. One day my father told me I was getting married, and the next day is when we first met. It happened that quickly. What are you worried about me, Michel? Don't worry, I'm not displeased with the arrangement. In fact, I'm quite happy with it. Oh, you make anime figurines get torched. Have you ever read played up SMT4? Because there's a part where the angels are like she has come into the contact with the filthy manga of Tokyo. She must be killed. is something that happens. Where what's her name? I'm forgetting her name. Oh, main heroine lady. Yeah, she reads Roses of Versailles. It is not based. Roses of Versailles is good. In fact, I'm quite happy with it. Aristocratic marriages are almost always sudden, and as a woman, you get used to being a piece in their games. But Georg, he's different. He's a gentleman. A gentleman, him? You sound surprised. I believe hedonist suits him better. Oh, I quite disagree. I have complete faith that he'll do good by me. I couldn't fathom where she found such confidence in him. Especially a man she had only just met. How could she trust him at all? She was nothing but a pawn, and she knew it. So maybe she was simply putting on an act. I had trouble believing her smile was anything but genuine, though. One day you'll meet the right man for you, Michel. And he won't be a drunk like that guy from earlier. He'll be a kind, hard-working, and respectable man. I would rather not find anyone. I suppose this is all still too soon for you, huh? So how old are you, Michel? 14. Oh, wow, I assumed you were younger. Do I really look that young? No hard feelings. You're just like a teeny tiny little doll, so small and slender. And look, not one bit of meat up here at all. Hey, she playfully grabbed me from behind and started prodding at my chest. Her delicate fingers slid across my skin. I found myself gripped by very indecent urges. Every heavy thump of my heart felt sinful. She couldn't know, I couldn't let her. Everything I'd been fighting to keep down came hurling to the surface. You're so cold, you know that? She was touching me like it was nothing, caressing my hair. Was she this intimate with Georg? Or was it because I was a younger girl that she was so keen on putting her hands all over me? Before I understand what I was feeling, my body acted. It was pure, unfiltered impulse. In my attempt to escape from her grip, I twisted around only to find my face inches from Amy's. Slowly gravitating closer, I pressed my lips against the corner of her mouth. Amy sat there flabbergasted. I was equally aghast. I'm sorry. As I frantically put some distance between us, I'm sure my face was red as an apple, though I did not know it at the time. Well, that was certainly unexpected. I'm sorry, did I make you feel uncomfortable touching you so much? Amy was smiling, though it looked forced. No, not at all. Then I must have startled you. I'm sorry if I let you go sooner. I avoided this accident. What do you mean, accident? I kissed on the lips. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't, Amy. I seem to confuse you somewhat, Michel. What? I know I can be very touchy-feely with you, and you took that to mean you should do the same. No, you can't do that again, alright? If you want to kiss your friends, you do it on the cheek. Save the lips for the man you love. I should get going. Georg starts to get cranky if I give him enough attention. Hold on, Amy. So long, Michel. She wouldn't hear me out. Once Amy had fled my chambers. That was when I finally comprehended my own emotions. That she had stolen my heart. But Amy was Georg's fiancée. No, that wasn't the problem. My body, was not meant for her love. I woke in the middle of the night to pain in my joints. Not enough exercise, I guess. I tried bending and stretching my arms, but it did nothing. Poor Michel. Just... Oh, Jesus. So after pondering on it for a bit, I decided to go for a late night walk to distract myself. As I approached the corridor adjacent to the courtyard, I heard a woman's voice. While I'm still concerned about staying here, Amy's voice. Doing my best to remain perfectly quiet, I pressed myself against the wall by the window and listened in on their conversation. I knew it was improper to eavesdrop, but the sound of her voice had me frozen in place. It's Michel. I'm afraid I've confused her. A tiny jolt ran down my spine and muscles all tensed up at once. The sound of my name rising to her lips, but not in the way I would have liked. She kissed me. Well, almost, but how could I have guessed she thought of me that way? Mother told me she didn't have any female friends, and asked me to be one for her, which is why. So she had been only coming to see me because Mother had asked her to. I had been afraid of that. Afraid that she wasn't there to be with me. That she had no fondness for me. That my yearning for her was one-sided. She kind of scares me the way she looks at me. Always watching every little move I make. I'm sensitive to that sort of thing. I can tell what's going through Michelle's mind. I managed to deflect it this time, but I should have never gone friendly with her. She had seen through me from day one. I understood what I was feeling before even I had. It's disgusting, homosexuality. Oh no, time to cancel Amy. Technically, it's heterosexual, but you know, she doesn't know that. Homosexuality? Did I hear her right? Incredibly cringe. Absolutely not based. Not poggers at all. Something inside me crumbled, and with it came an intense sense of wrongness. There was again that overpowering discomfort. The fear coursing through my veins. It's not homosexuality. That's the problem that young Michelle's having with it. That repulsion, that irritation, that apprehension. What on earth was I? Did I view Amy as a member of the same sex? Were the things I felt homosexual? I heard Amy sigh from beyond the window, and then the man beside her, who she was confiding all this in, replied, "She's still just a child." That voice, and one with the underdeveloped social skills besides, understanding what she's going to do and say some inappropriate things. It's not uncommon for a child to mistake admiration for love. And I didn't know this until recently, but when she gets something into her head, she has a tendency to run into it without thinking. It was not the man I had assumed it was. The other day she had asked me to let her be a knight. Can't imagine how she thought that would end any other way. Why? It's not very often there are women other than Mother at the estate. Imagine she simply got nervous being around you, something got mixed up in her head. Why was Didier out there with her? I hope that's all that it was. Amy, hadn't you told me? You thought Georg was a gentleman? So what are you doing? Getting so friendly with Didier? And Didier, weren't you my ally? Or was that all an act like her? You were going to be a knight, so why were you out here with your other's fiancé? I'm glad to have you here. So I hope we can figure something out to make it work. I'll do what I can, but and I'm kind of reluctant to say this to you, but something has to change. As it is, she kind of grosses me out. She grosses me out. So what? I was some kind of sick, disgusting creature. All I had done was show feelings for her. I couldn't be Georg or Didier. The needles piercing me expanded, both in size and number. Soon I was being skewered by dozens of them. And the heated sighs rising from the courtyard only served to make the pain worse. All I could do was cover my ears and mouth. Why? What were you doing out there, Didier? How am I gross, Emmy? Emmy, it's not real. It's all a bunch of lies. This entire house is nothing but a fraud. None of it was ever real. The family gatherings, Amy's smiles, Didier's kindness, Georg's. What about Georg? Did he agree to marriage knowing about them? What the hell are they thinking? You want to know who's really disgusting? God damn it. I will not cry. I will not cry. I can't let myself. Girls cry. Tears are for girls. Not for me. I bit down hard on my lip, wrapped myself in the sheets, and pressed my hand so hard over my ears, squeezing my eyes shut as tight as I could manage, tried to get away from the things I'd seen. Images of them embracing in the night threatened to float back to the surface, but I shook my head, casting them off, praying I wouldn't have any nightmares. I drifted off to sleep. The next day I woke with a terrible fever. I hovered in a sweltering wave of heat, unable to tell dream and reality apart, listening to a seemingly endless stream of cracking noises. The sounds were coming from inside my body. I thought I was falling apart. Mother was horribly worried. I had never been the most healthy child, but I had never fallen this ill either. I couldn't get out of bed. My voice was raspy like an old woman's. I was genuinely afraid I would wither away and die. Mother called in doctor after doctor to see me, but they all said it was the flu. That bodily pain was common with fever. While there was a doctor in the house, Mother was able to remain relatively calm. But once they were gone, the anxiety came back. She stayed with me day and night, even before going to sleep. Her hands gripped mine, they held me fast. She had her head bowed as if in prayer. Don't worry, it'll be alright, Michel. God is watching over you. He will protect you. You are his child. You are his angel sent to earth. He will not forsake you. The doctors say it's just a flu. Though her words seemed to be directed at me, there was a faintness in her voice, as if they were really for herself. For so long she had wanted a daughter. I couldn't understand her fixation. But seeing her there through my cloudy eyes, I wanted to apologize for ever thinking spending time with her was agonizing. How are you feeling? Your mother's here for you, don't worry. But the only sound that came from my mouth was a faint gasp. I drifted in and out of sleep, Mother's hand wrapped around my own. And I had numerous dreams. In my dreams I was a man. In my dreams I was Didier, I was Georg. In my dreams I fell in love with Amy. In my dreams I loved her. You're disgusting. But with one word the dream twisted into nightmares. My body was torn into fleshy chunks, and I sunk into the darkness. Several days later my fever was gone, like it had never been there. However, what the? My voice did not recover. And when I attempted to climb from my bed, the murderous pain in my joints came rushing back. Instead of my feet, I landed on my face. My voice was unbelievably deep. Gah. And the pain only got worse. Every time I took breath, it felt like someone hammering a spike into the back of my neck. I felt like my body was falling apart. Michel! Michel! When my mother scrambled in my chambers, I remembered the time she had spent at my bedside, and a wave of relief came over me. I reached my hand out in a show of vulnerability, but she didn't take it. She couldn't take it. Mother. What? What's wrong with your voice, Michel? I see, you're still not feeling well, are you, Michel? A look of restrained fear on her face, Mother stepped toward me and placed her hand on my forehead. Her palm felt hot against my skin, and this is a real condition someone could have. You don't have a fever? But I hurt all over. My joints. You're still sick, Michel. But don't worry, you'll be fine in no time. Now back to bed with you. You're a girl, so you shouldn't be sitting on the floor. It's bad for your back. As Mother repeated the phrase, you're a girl, again and again, that nagging sense that something wasn't quite right grew more distinct. Was I really sick? Was this actually my voice now? And if it was, what was I turning into? My voice was certainly not a girl's voice. My voice never went back to normal though, so Mother ordered me to remain in my room. I hadn't recovered yet, and so as long as I was sick, I couldn't be let out. Again, something felt wrong about her calling it a sickness, but I had no evidence to the contrary. I had no way to know I wouldn't get others sick if I exposed them, as she claimed, so I had no choice to do but as she said. In time, Mother too stopped visiting me, and the only people I saw were servants. They did their jobs but refused to look me in the eye. No one else came to see me, though. Not Aimé, not Didier, or Georg. 1 month passed, then 2, then 3. Occasionally the pain in my joints would withdraw, and other times it would worsen. Whenever I would drift out to sleep, I would hear the sound of my own joints creaking. I would dream of a woman standing in the courtyard, her soft chestnut hair fluttering the wind as she twirled to face me, a smile on her face and her breast exposed. One day, after around 6 months of Serge refusing to make eye contact, I stopped when I made a request to have a mirror brought to my room. While he didn't acknowledge me, the next day I had my mirror. By that point, I was fairly certain I knew what was happening to my body. I had no clothes to wear, because none of the multicolored dresses hanging in my wardrobe fit me anymore. Pulling the heavy red cloth covering the mirror aside, my completely naked body came into view. Something resembling a mix of chuckle and a sigh of pity spilled from my lips. This is me. 6 months. After only 6 months' time, I could hardly recognize myself. Extending my hand for the mirror, I traced the outline of my bony reflection. My shoulders lacked mother's curves, and my skin a sheen. I was pale and haggard, but structurally I looked like my brothers. Obviously, being younger than them and not as active, my muscles lacked any kind of strength. But I wouldn't have batted an eye if I saw myself holding a sword. I was a full head taller than I had been 6 months earlier, and I felt an odd certainty that I wasn't done growing either. Staring at myself in the mirror, I traced my name across the surface. Michel. Don't need the last two. Michel. So yeah, Michel's the intersex rep that we all wanted all along. For the first time in my life, I liked my name. I still didn't think an angel's name suited me one bit. Oh yeah. I still think it was staggering how different it felt now, even if it sounded exactly the same. Those last two letters changed the meaning entirely, turning it from a girl's name to a boy's name. This now makes sense. Everything was falling into place. My admiration for Didier, the envy I had for my brother's bodies, the feelings I had for Amy, the indecent dreams I'd been having. I was always a man. I cackled like a fool for the first time in my life. I laughed so hard at the sight of myself. At the sight of myself, my stomach hurt. It was the first glimmer of light I'd seen this locker room for too long. This is what I was supposed to look like. My life up until 6 months ago, constricted and uncomfortable. My life as a girl was all a lie. No one could possibly look at me and call me an angel. I was always a boy, but I've been told I was a girl, forced to act like one. Of course that wouldn't feel right. They had needed to know. I couldn't be the only one who understood. Everyone in this house needed to. Fueled by this one desire, I wrapped a sheet over my shoulders and threw open my door. It seemed ridiculous how long I'd followed Mother's instructions and remained cooped up in my room. And now I felt fantastic. If there truly was a God in heaven, then this change within me, was his answer to my prayers. A manservant carrying a tray of food did a double take as I passed him. The further I proceeded the corridors, the more eyes I felt on me. The midday sun shone obnoxiously bright through the windows, but now with its piercing radiation illuminating my proper self, I felt an odd affection for the light. I could hear the family gathered in the great hall, everyone but me. Didier's voice complained about the simple meals the church provided, but his pride came through in his laughter. Oh yeah, see you, Mosca. Good luck with whatever you need to do. See you soon. Georg's voice playfully bragged about a life at the royal court. Father's voice informed everyone his investments had borne fruit. With the money he had purchased several new estates. Mother's voice was distinctly less bright than the rest of the family's. She gave a vague, empty indication she was listening, but mostly stayed out of the conversation. Amy's voice sank her praise for Georg, her beloved husband. Never mind the fact she was sleeping with Didier. It was all a facade, a mere shadow of family. It's a shame Michel couldn't be here. Then we would have everyone. I was there. I was right there. I hadn't gone anywhere. You just locked me in the room. I hope she recovers soon. I was never sick at all. The child you called Michel was actually your son. That was all there was to it. Huh? What? Everyone's gaze is concentrated on me. We just had that shot from every Indian drama where it just like pans to everyone's face really fast and has a bunch of just jump cuts. You can imagine the scene going down. Like it's playing out in my head already. I gave them all a quick glance, and then with a deepened voice I said, I am cured. I was cured 6 months ago. Who are you? Sure you haven't forgotten my face, have you? Father? Michel? Michel? This boy is Michel? A wave of chatter spread through the hall. Yeah, Michel just threw open both of the doors and it's going off. Mother went pale. Father objected. Didier stared. Georg gasped. Aimee watched cautiously, fear in her eyes. What a farce. They were the ones who had wrongly decided it was a girl. What's going on? Someone tell me, what is the meaning of this? You were dressing up your son like a girl, Mother? I assumed he was a girl. But otherwise I wouldn't have put my hands on him like that. You lied to me. I would have never agreed to it had I known. No, you're wrong. Michel's my daughter. You called that a girl? All these months I was worried because you said he was sick. But that was all a lie. You couldn't pass him off as a girl anymore, so you locked him up in his room. Is that what this is? And you could have just stayed, you could have just stayed there. What possessed you to show yourself now? Stop that, don't look at me. Don't give me that look. You said you can't tell what's going through my mind, did you? What? Then you should know exactly how I feel about you right now. Don't be so damn full of yourself. I have no interest in a whore like you. So why don't you go cry into Didier's arms? You... Wait, what are you talking about? And Georg was just vibing. He does not know any of what anything is happening. What are you talking about? Why Didier? Why not me? Wait, what? Hey, anyone want to explain that for me? What had been once a nice family meal was now utter chaos. For the briefest moment I felt sorry for Georg, but that whisked away almost immediately. There was a crash under the table and dishes fell shattering against the floor. Cursed. A chilling darkness oozed from her voice. She's cursed. She was my daughter. I saw it with my eyes. I gave her birth to her. She was a girl. Michel was a girl. A malevolent curse has been pasted on her. When Mother lifted her head, I had difficulty believing it. That was the same woman who had sat by my bedside to lay sick, sacrificing sleep to care for me. Her hair was a frazzled mess. Deep creases covered her face. I restrained her, threw her to the room, and locked the door. She's a girl, she's a girl, she's a girl, I swear. Open your eyes. Do I sound like a girl? Do I look anything like a girl? Mother's cry sent me into a frenzy. I ripped the sheets off my shoulders, throwing it to the floor. I am not a girl! And shouted. Restrain her, please, someone restrain her. Fear reigned in the great hall. But then several moments of icy silence were broken by a muttering that shocked me as much as everyone else. You're not a boy or a girl. What on earth are you? You're an abomination. Time to cancel MA again. Double cancellation. You're not a boy. You're an abomination. I'm what? I'd seen myself in the mirror. I was undoubtedly mad. Lacking in strength though I may have been, I had visible muscles. My chest was flat, I was taller than any girl should be. Oof. My voice was deep, and I had an obvious lump in the middle of my throat. On the other hand, tall girls cute. I was a male, I had to be a male. So what else could I be? Why was Emma looking at me like some sort of strange creature? A chill ran down my spine, and I suddenly found myself deeply uncomfortable being so exposed. There's nothing there. You've got nothing there. Nothing there? I didn't understand what she was talking about. Unable to progress further, I fell silent, at which point several servants burst into the great hall and restrained me. She's a girl, she's my daughter. Mother, seemingly in a mad daze, just repeated the same thing over and over. She was a girl! As Mother wailed, she wandered off somewhere. Father stood there in silence. Amy stared at me with disgust in her eyes. Georg was still in panic and Didier clenched his fist. Eventually I started regaining my composure, which is when I realized I had made a mistake. My sickness had been made into a curse. I was once more caged up in my room. In addition to the door being locked from the outside, the windows were boarded over so no one could see in, leaving me in perpetual darkness. Content warning. Shit gets worse. Shit gets way worse. I would receive no visitors except the servants, again and again. None of them would look me in the eye. Every day was the same, day in and day out, day in and day out. And the only time the routine changed was when, on occasion, a servant would arrive bearing a letter. It was my mother's handwriting on parchment. We lived in the same house, yet she refused to show herself before me. I had no choice but to respond to her letters. She demanded I speak like a girl, and I didn't have the strength to defy her. There was a constant sense of urgency to her letters, like she might fall apart completely at any second. And so I did as she said. I signed each letter Michel, the female name she bestowed upon me at birth, which I so despised. Every time I used that name, I felt like I was denying my own identity. When has shit ever gotten worse in this game except all of the time? Things will get better. Things will have to get better. They will, won't they? But that concern only served to cause me more pain. So every time I took up my quill, my hands trembled. Mother, pray daily that my curse might one day be broken. Am I cursed? Is that why my body changed? Was it not because I was male? There's nothing there. What did she mean by that? Why did she look at me the way she did? How am I an abomination? Why don't I don't understand. Someone, anyone, please tell me. Someone, please. I have brought your supper. I will be back shortly to retrieve your dishes. I'll be going then. Wait. What? Wait a minute. Yes, what do you need, Michel? Are you a man or a woman? Pardon? Which are you? I am exactly what I appear to be. Which are you? I'm a man. If that's all, I'll be going now. Clothes off. What? Take off your clothes off right now. Everything, even your underclothes. Surely you jest, Michel. I'm very serious. I could not possibly. Why not? I could not expose myself. I order you to take off your clothes. You mean to humiliate me? I beg you, please reconsider. What are you? You're a servant of the Bollinger estate. And what am I? I am a child of the Bollinger family. I may be locked up in prison in this room, but that doesn't make you any less my servant. Am I wrong? Clothes off. Michel, I ordered you to take your clothes off. Oh no. Poor servant. Not even a tiny silver of guilt arose in my consciousness. I felt no shame in what I was doing. All that mattered to me was figuring out what Amy had meant. I wanted to find out the truth. Not knowing, I would have been better off in the dark. His face twisted in humiliation, the servant undressed before me. Dim candlelight, the man's body was shaped almost like a rectangle. And at glances, he didn't appear much different than me. A second later, though, I found my answer. I found the one crucial thing he had that I didn't. Why? My lower body lacked the part that made a man a man. Are you satisfied, Michel? It was then when I finally learned what a man's body was supposed to look like. I'm begging you, please allow me to dress. It would be an unbearable shame to remain unclothed any longer. Before the young Bollinger daughter. Daughter? You still insist on calling me a damn girl. Look at these shoulders, my chest, listen to my voice. How can you possibly think any of this belongs to a girl? But how you appear does not. There's a distinct look of fear in the manservant's eyes. Not out of respect for a difference in rank, but out of disgust for this incomprehensible thing standing there before him. Those trembling eyes, and the reality dangling there before me, blew the lid once more, of everything I had been holding back. Without that, you'd be no different than me. What? Everything else is all the same. So why does it make such a difference? That you have one and I don't? Michel, I'm a man. I'm a man just like you. I'm no one's daughter. And if you still insist we're not the same, then I'll make you like me. Without that, you're no different than me. There was a mix of dread and panic that pushed me over the edge. And so, in order to keep myself afloat, I decided to bring another pain. Please don't do this, Michel. In a blind frenzy, hardly even aware of what I was doing, just riding the current of my erupting emotions, I swiped a knife off the tray the man had brought, knocking him down and climbed onto him. I'll get rid of it. I'll make you the same. Without you just like me. Get off me, please. Someone help. I'll make you just like me. Get in here, someone, anyone. Michel. She's delirious. Through the fog of hysteria, I suddenly realized I was surrounded by several servants. The next thing I knew, I was on the floor beneath them. There were as many, if not more of them, than when I had made a scene in the great hall. A dozen men servants stared down at me, their eyes filled with fear and revulsion. And in the shadows beyond the crowd, I saw Mother looking out at me with vacant eyes. Mother. Mother, why? Why will you only speak to me through letters? Why do you say I'm accursed? Mother, I'm male. I was always male. Tell me that I am, Mother. Let me out of here, please. I'm not delirious. My head is perfectly clear. I'm normal. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not cursed. Mother, say something. Mother! After that, I was shut in my room again. And even the servants stopped coming. I pushed again and shoved. I pulled and pounded with all my strength. But the door and windows didn't bulge. A day passed and then another. With no food or water, I started fearing death was upon me. I had no idea how miserable it was to go so long without water. My throat was dry and cracked, and it felt like it was on fire, making breathing difficult. 2 days. 48 hours, long hours. I felt like I was going to lose my mind. After just 2 days, my skin stretched tight across my bones, looking hard and dry in the soft candlelight. Water, I need water. Someone please give me water. Why won't anyone bring me any? Why? My family had abandoned me and were leaving me to die in this room. When I realized that, I broke into uncontrollable shaking. The helplessness threatened to suffocate me. Fear of death turned to panic, which only scrambled my already confused mind further. I grabbed a chair, swinging at the window, at the door. But all my attempts ended in crushing failure. Anyone! I clawed at the door, begging for help. Someone open the door! Anyone! Water, I need water! I'm going to die in here! Someone! Anyone! Mother, father! Didier, Georg! Someone open the door, please! Help me! Someone, I need water! My throat hurts, it burns. I'm so weak. Someone, water. Didier, Georg, anyone. But not a single soul came to the door. Also, this song, it just repeats over and over, slowly, without any real high or low points, and it just makes it so much worse. With no food or water, the third day came and went, and then the fourth. By that point, I was expectedly devoid of any sense of dignity, and I sat there, covered in all manners of human filth as my body quickly wasted away. Still, I clung to the vain hope that someone would open that door. It was all I had. Occasionally, I would hear footsteps. Whenever I did, I mustered up what meager strength I had left to bang on the door. Whoever's there, please open the door. I'm begging you, someone. But my pleas fell on deaf ears. Though they didn't respond to me, I could hear Abigail's muttering to one another in the corridor. Did you hear that? Yes, I did. I wonder what's gone into Lady Michel. They say she was cursed. Maybe she sold her soul to the devil. How dreadful. Oh, we should stay away from that door. If we don't want to be cursed too. I am not cursed. I did not sell my soul to the devil. I'm kind of scared. I'm gonna have to find somewhere else to work. I gotta make sure we stay away from that door. Why do you think I'm cursed? I never did anything wrong. Lady Michel has lost her mind. She's deranged. I'm scared even thinking about her. I'm not deranged. My mind is perfectly fine. She's right crazy. Right mad. No, I'm not. I'm perfectly normal. Someone please get me out of here. The fifth and then the sixth day passed, and by that point I was hovering on death's brink. I lacked even the willpower to hold myself against the door, so I simply lay on the cold floor, waiting for the end. I felt no sorrow, no anger, no despair, nothing. I'd been sucked completely dry. I couldn't even compose a coherent thought, which is why when the door I had yearned to open actually did, and someone stepped inside standing over me, I was unable to process it. My God, what a mess. Hey, are you still alive? Well, look at that. I was afraid you'd be dead. It was Amy's voice. Aw, I'm sorry, really. I didn't mean you much harm. But after what you said in front of the whole family, I was a little upset. I couldn't tell what she was saying. All I could hear were garbled sounds, and all I could do was moan at her. The servants are all afraid of you now after your little upset, so I volunteered to bring your food in their place. Everyone was so grateful. I don't think anyone likes you anymore. Eventually, my muddy mind managed to make sense of the things she was holding in her hands. A tray of food. I could smell it from here. At first I just gave your food to a stray cat. I wish you could have seen it devouring every last bit. Water. What I didn't know, though, was that people can die in just a few days without water. I never intended to kill you. I just didn't know. So I'm really sorry about that. Water. But you're alive. For someone so physically weak, you sure are tenacious. Isn't it nice you have one thing you can be proud of? So, yeah, Amy might just be the absolute worst character. What was that, water? You want water? Hold on, I've got some right here. She picked up a goblet with her delicate finger. My hand swiped weakly at the air, trying to grab it. A grin spread across her lips. And then she let go. Oh, go on, drink. You better hurry or the rug will absorb it all. You wanted water, didn't you? Then drink. In that moment, I could hear the sound of the last of my dignity crumbling away. Driven solely by my surveillance, I bent downward to the rug, pressing my lips against the spreading puddle. You really did it. This is too good, Michel. You look like a cat. No, cats are much more graceful. I can't stop laughing. The daughter of a prestigious family, the Bollingers sucking water out of a carpet. I wish I had a painter here to capture this image on canvas. So I accept that I made a mistake, Michel. I promise I'll bring you food from now on. I'll take very good care of you. This is going to be fun. Listening to her childish yet deeply malicious laughter. I understood. I was her plaything now. My hell was only just beginning. Having gotten food and water, my body recovered somewhat, but I was hardly in peak condition. That would take some time given how badly malnourished I had been. Amy continued to treat me like her pet, constantly stoking the flame of rage within me. But I was too weak to stay on my feet for long. Talking hurt my throat. I assume it was a calculated effort on her part to maintain power over me, to keep me as miserable as possible. She always had a smirk on her face as she gazed down on me. Come on, open up. Today I'm going to feed you myself. What's the matter? I can't put anything in with your mouth closed. Or do you want to start there? Amy, why are you doing this? Because it's fun, why else? You married into this family, you sick rat wench. What gives you the idea you can treat me? Are you saying that because I'm married in, I'm a lesser stature to you? That's true, I am. But what's your point? You think you can intimidate me with formalities? Amy, I would rather you not speak my name if you wouldn't mind. That doesn't excuse your treatment of me. Someone, Diddy or Georg, will make you pay for this. You don't have a single friend here, Michel. No one to take your side. And no one to say anything about me playing with you. Assuming you were somehow able to tell someone, no one would believe you. That's a lie. Do you have any idea what people say about you? They say you've gone mad, that you sold your soul to the devil. Do you honestly believe anyone would trust you? I'm not mad. I know you look plenty mad to me. Gah. Fine then, I'll run away. I'll escape from this estate. And from you. You think you could survive out in the world with that body? A stray cat could live more than you. You'd never find work. I'd give you a week at best. You can't be so sure of that. Maybe I can make it on my own. Maybe, but either way, there's no way you're getting out. You try to run, someone might just cut your legs off. How is that at all necessary? Don't ask me, maybe because your curse hasn't broken. You know, you're lucky you're even allowed to live. And you should be grateful for me to volunteering to take care of you. Nobody else wanted to have anything to do with it. So if you want to keep living, you have to show me some respect. And you have to do everything I tell you to do. Understood? So this is the real you. You were just pretending to be respectable. When in reality, not only are you sleeping with Diddy, you're a downright vile woman. You've been putting on an act ever since you got here. Oh, you make it sound like I'm somehow worse than anyone else. I'm quite normal, thank you. How is this normal? Listen to me, Michel. The side of me you see right now isn't necessarily the whole thing. The sweet girl that I am for family is also me. And when I held you in my arms, that too was me. I'm not putting on an act. Liar. Although to tell you the truth, I never actually liked you, so that part was a lie, yes. If Mother hadn't asked, I would never even consider getting friendly with you. Amy. You know, life as a noblewoman is so dull. It's so restrictive. No room for love at all. So can you really blame me? There so happened to be the most wonderful night right here for the taking. Why shouldn't I have gone after him? I'm so young. Let me have some fun, you know. Not like women have much else in the way of recreation. So it wasn't Diddy, but you who seduced him? And it would have worked out beautifully too, if only you had kept your mouth shut. You ruined our family gathering and damaged my reputation. And you called me a whore. That wasn't very nice now, was it? Is that any surprise, my little soul? You brought this on yourself, Michel. I brought this on myself. Don't you dare. Nothing justifies what you're doing to me. I'm not the disturbed one. You're a crazy whore, and don't try to pretend otherwise, damn you. Oh my, such language. You're not being very nice to me, Michel. Girls aren't supposed to talk like that, you know. I am not a girl. Then what are you? I'm a man. A man with that body. Amy quietly rose, grabbed me by the hair and shoved me to the floor. Let go of me. You call yourself a man. You can't even get out of a girl's grip. I'm not all that strong either. In fact, I sound rather weak. Just a small, powerless girl. If you were a man, you would have no problem breaking free, malnourished or otherwise. But you can't. Kid. She traced the lines of my emaciated ribs with her nails traveling slowly down to my chest. But even ignoring that, you're missing the most important part. Stop! Get off me! I tried to shove her aside with all the strength I could, squeezed out of my arms. But Amy had said I couldn't even overpower a girl. All I could do was lie there beneath her and beg, "Get off me!" groaning in anger and frustration. Her finger came to a stop just above my navel. She looked up at me with a sweet smile, and then pulled her hand away, and just a wave of relief spread through me. She shoved me back, jumped up, and slammed her foot between my legs. Ugh. I shuddered as the pain jolted up my thigh. Ah! Amy looked down at me as I screamed. A smirk spread across her face. Oh my, does that hurt? That's a surprise. Even without a voice part, it still hurts. Ah, stop, please. And she didn't stop at stepping on me. I'm begging you, stop, please. She dug her toes into my flesh. What are you exactly, Michel? From the feel of it, you don't quite have a proper girl's parts either. Damn it, please. On top of the physical pain, unbearable humiliation and shame crowed away at my spirit. What a strange creature you are. Stop. If I could have died right then and there, honestly, that would have been preferable to the emotional hell she was putting me through. You should take a look at yourself in a mirror, Michel. You're crying, sobbing like a sad little girl. Not much of a boy, are you? And you lusted after me with this body? Seriously, you're disgusting. I can't believe you actually had the gall to fall for me. Amy's abuse was not a one-time occurrence. As she had promised, she came to feed me every day. But a revival brought nothing but anguish and torture. Every day she chipped away more of my spirit. But I hadn't succumbed to her yet. My anger still overpowered any fear I felt. About a week after Amy started caring for me. Have you been a good girl, Michel? I brought you your supper. I'll set it right here for you. What's the matter, Michel? Your food's right there. It's going to get cold. Go on, eat. But no using your hands. Crawl over and use your mouth. Come on, eat. Or would you rather I fed you? What was that? Do you have something to say? I'll kill. I can't understand a word you're saying, Michel. If you'd eat, you would have the strength to talk. Oh, you. I'm going to kill you. Amy. That was, I believe, the first time in my life I had felt a sincere, overpowering desire to end someone's life. I wanted to see her dead. With my hands and legs tied up, I lurched for her. And like the dog she wanted me, I chomped down her wrist. Ah! The taste of someone else's blood was far more unpleasant than I expected. I felt like I was going to vomit. Gah! I was determined to not let go of her wrist for any reason. I would gnaw through the bones and rip her entire hand off. She would beat me unconscious and I still wouldn't let go. She would have to kill me to get me off her. I wanted to feel the same pain I felt when she trampled on me. Let go! My body never did if I wanted to, though. I could swear all my life I wouldn't release her, but I could never seem to make good on my determination. Amy's foot flew up into my emaciated gut. The pointed tip of her shoe dug into my flesh like a knife, and I collapsed to the floor in a fit of convulsions. And just as I was about to cough a mouthful of stomach acid, she rammed her foot into my abdomen a second time. She didn't even give me enough time to get my feet, let alone fight back, before she kicked me again. Again and again and again. Stop. My gut, my chest, my legs, my face. What's wrong with you? Don't you get it? You're not the one in control here. You should be thanking me. What you did to me that day was incredibly hurtful. Yet here I am bringing food to you. Can you not just see how kind-hearted I am? So why would you go and bite me? So what would possess you to do such a thing? Gasping for breath, my consciousness slipping away from me. I caught a glimpse of Emmy's eye as she swung her leg back for another kick. And when I did, a single word rose to my mind. Demon. Isn't that something? You can't even stand up to a girl. I'm not that strong. I'm weak and frail. This is the first time I've ever kicked someone. I have absolute control over you, Michel. You understand that now, right? You learned your lesson, didn't you? Not even an ounce of strength remained with me. My tongue and teeth were torn up. My mouth tasted of blood. Thinking herself weak and having no experience in the ways of physical violence, she knew no restraint. The ignorant can be so much more brutal and viciously relentless than the seething. My vision had gone red and I could hardly feel my own face. There was a strange gurgling sound with every breath I took. Ah, geez, what am I going to do about this hand? It hurts like crazy. Oh, I know. I'll tell everyone you finally lost it, and try to bite my hand off. They'll all feel so bad for me, and I can see the sad looks on Didier and Georg's face. They will not. You know your brothers have completely given up on you. A deranged sister is nothing but trouble. You know what you are, Michel? You're a demon child. Why was I the demon, and not her? Why did no one come to my aid? Several times I considered ending my life, but every time I did, memories of better days came back to me. Of times before my body had transformed. The days when we were all so sure of our happiness. Kept me chained to life. Why couldn't things still be the way they had been then? In my heart I hadn't changed it at all. So how did things ended up like this? Michel, oh, Michel, are you in there? Do you need something, Georg? Oh, come on, don't be like that. Do I have to need something to talk to you? No, but you look like you're in an unusually good mood, so I thought. Well, why wouldn't I be? It's a wonderfully gloomy day out. I would understand if it were clear out, but can you really say it's wonderfully gloomy? Well, you can't be outside for very long when it's not cloudy, so in our case, this is perfect weather. Ah. What do you say we go for a little stroll while we can? Dee's around today too, so we'll see if he's up for it. It'll be like old times. We've been running around like headless chickens lately, so we haven't much chance for sibling outing. We'll have Mom make us lunch and then, we'll take a couple horses up to the forest edge. I'm fine with that if you are. You bet your bum I am. I asked after all. Now come on, let's go. An outing, you say? Yep, hop on a couple horses and head for the forest. We haven't done this in a while, so I figured, why not? I see, well, if Michel's coming, I see no reason to say no. Let's set off right away. Whoa, slow down there. Are you saying you wouldn't go if it was just me? It's a Michel or nothing? Of course, why on earth would I want to go horse riding alone with you? I'd rather drown myself. Again. Didier? Could I perhaps make a small request? Go on, let's hear it. Do you mind if I just hold the horse's reins? Oh, that's all. By all means. I'll be there behind you to make sure nothing happens, so have it. But do be warned, my horse is a bit temperamental. If you're not gentle, he'll start getting moody with you. I doubt that will be a problem for you, though, Michel. I'll be careful. Hey, whoa, slow down, guys. Look at that, Michel. Georg's still fumbling around all the way back there. Are we going a bit too fast? No, you're fine. The trouble to get past that so quickly is proof of your talent. Finally caught up. This isn't a race, you know. Why can't we enjoy the scenery and indulge in some nice pathos? A warrior and a horse need not a pathos. Isn't that right, Michel? It certainly is, Didier. Come on, you guys, be nice. This was my idea. You've really taken after old D, haven't you, Michel? I, for one, would rather see admiring flowers or dancing with butterflies, or gazing out at a beautiful sunset, or enjoying poetry. More pathos, my dear sister, and less barbarism. Long swords, suits of armor, and tales of heroic knights are so much more appealing, though. You let him get his claws in too deep, Michel. Oh dear, oh my, I'm going to have to have two meathead siblings before I know it. What did you just call me? Now, you two, why don't we just stop here for a picnic? Second, my stomach's been rumbling up a storm. I took a few bites earlier because I was about to die back there. Up your horse throws you into the river. Hey, so the other day I brought a cat home. A cat? Yep, speckled from head to tail and ugly as a witch's arse. I was gonna keep it in my room, but Mom flipped when she saw it. Keep that filthy thing out of my house. Wish there's something we could do about how much of a clean freak she is. Georg, try not to stress Mother too much. You're unpredictable enough as it is. It'd be nice, though, to have a cat in here. You think so? Then how about this? We'll keep it in the courtyard. I'll feed it on days when it's clear, and you'll do it when it's cloudy, Michel. I don't know what cats eat, though. Bet he'd like pastries. Do you want to kill the cursed thing? I cannot approve of anyone taking care of an animal who thinks that's a good idea. Sorry. Oh, pull the stick out of your ass, D. Life's all about experimentation. Live and learn. Don't experiment on animals. Well, if you're gonna be like that, how about you help too? You can keep an eye on us to make sure we don't do anything stupid. Now you're trying to drag me into this? Already done, you're in, it's settled. Damn it, Gorg. Now we need to come up with a name. Have any ideas, Michel? What, you want me to name it? Not very often you get to give another living thing a name. Well, I guess you might have a few more chances down the road. Considering this practice. Something elegant and beautiful, you got this. And now, Georg, don't put so much pressure on her. You have a point though, it's a good opportunity. Don't stress too much about it, Michel. Just choose something you like. You said the cat was spectacled and ugly? Yep, one look and you'll be laughing so hard you can't breathe. Alright then. Ugly Speckles. The naming sense. Our boy's great. We love and respect Michel. That's its name. It would seem you have to do not have a future in the arts, Michel. But you said it was ugly and speckled, George. Yeah, I did, yes, you could try a little harder than that, though. But you know, why not? Ugly Speckles it is. It's actually kind of charming when you say it aloud. Ugly Speckles. It's not that funny. It's quite something indeed. The more I think about it, the more I... Not you too, Didier. We should bring Ugly Speckles on our next outing. Sitting together beneath the clouds, having lunch. That we should. When Michel's gotten a little bigger, let's do this again. 3 of us and our ugly speckled cat. You said we're all good friends here, after all. I've never been your friend, though. Oh god, must you always be such a jerk. From that to this. Back to this. Just 3 bros being bros. Didier, Georg, was Amy telling the truth? Do you really think I'm nothing but trouble? Do you think I've lost my mind? That I'm a demon child? Didier, Georg, why do you not open the door for me and let me out? Were the things I said that day really so, Highness? Highness, do you resent me too, like Amy? Didier, Georg, how do you think about me now? Is this body really so unusual? If I hadn't undergone this transformation I did, would things still have been the way they were before? Would we be able to go out to the forest again and make silly, meaningless conversation, everyone laughing like we had then? If this body hadn't changed the way it did, would I not be trapped in the darkness? Even if that were the case. I didn't want to be a girl. If God descended from the heaven and offered to change me back, I would have turned him down. Yeah, hell yeah. Because inside, I wasn't a girl. And my nightmares at Amy's hands didn't end here, there either. As much as I loathed to admit it, I was terrified of her. Every day I dreaded the sound of the door opening. However, if I were to block the door with awful furniture, I would lose my only remaining lifeline. I had no choice in the matter. It's time for supper, Michel. I brought you your favorite, parsnips. Well, what dogs didn't eat of them anyway? Ugh. So you remember how he hated parsnips and would never eat them, and how he absolutely refused when Giselle was gonna make parsnips for him? But you don't mind, do you? I want to cut your nails today, Michel. I need to stay very still. You wouldn't want my hands to slip. So to make sure you do, I'm tying you up. This way you can't accidentally move. Here's your water, Michel. It's murky. Oh, heavens me. I must have fetched it from the wash basin by mistake. It's supper time, Michel. I brought you your parsnips again. Don't worry, the dogs didn't have any of these. They didn't seem to be interested in eating them raw. Oh, what, you don't want any? What am I gonna do with these? You know, Michel, you're such a disgrace. Cry for me, won't you? And beg for mercy. Normally I like terrible women, because, that's just who I am. But MA is still triple cancelled. Look at you, all that pride. Gone out of the window. It's hilarious, I tell you. This actually really does hurt, though. She did everything imaginable to torture me, both physically and emotionally. To be honest, it was rather impressive in a sick way, how she was able to come with so many different ways to torment me. And she knew precisely what caused me the most pain. My body and the discrepancy between what I was and what I felt I was. She delighted in telling me I wasn't male, and sometimes in showing me. But I don't think I need to describe the things she did to me in any more detail. I could think of only one way to keep myself from breaking down. I completely stopped talking, stopped struggling. Then one day, after about 6 months or so, she said with a disinterested sigh, "I'm done." And that was the last of it. By swallowing all my pride and not resisting, I was able to escape from her grip. Once she was gone, the servants took over for attending me again. I was still imprisoned, but now there was a serenity in my solitude. I didn't speak with anyone. I didn't make eye contact. I didn't do anything. I just lived. Even though I had peace, I still feared Amy having a change of heart. I trembled at the possibility that one day it might be her that opened the door. But above all, I hated, despised the fact that I lived in fear of such a girl. An overwhelming, self-loathing threatened to crush me. I had recurring nightmares about things Amy had done to me. The wounds she gave me did not heal. They only grew worse, eating away at me day after day. As I began to lose confidence in my own sanity in the silent darkness, where there was no sense of time. The line between dream and reality blurred. I often found myself screaming, crying into the empty air. I clawed at my skin, pulled out my hair, paced back and forth across the room, pounded at the door, yelling for help. Back, Mosca. Amy has shown her true colors and has now left Michel alone after getting bored once Michel gave up. So, yeah. Screamed some more. It was the very image of a pitiful, absolute wretchedness. And every time I did, I'm sure there was someone on the other side of the door, whispering about how poor Michel had lost her mind. Eventually, I gave up entirely. It was a stormy night in the 16th year. I'd been confined for more than 2 years at that point. Heavy rain pounded against the windows like thousands of little spears. I was sitting quietly in my bed, unable to fall asleep, when suddenly there was a loud banging on the door. Michel, are you awake? If you aren't, then hurry up and get awake. We've got trouble. Lower your damn voice. But... When I first heard my mother's voices after so long, I thought I was hallucinating. In 2 years, they had never wanted to come for me, no matter how hard I pounded the door, no matter how many times I called for them. 2 whole years. And after all the time, I didn't expect that to ever change. I'd given up, assumed they had long since cast me aside. Unable to bring myself to say anything, I simply stared at the door. When there was another bam bam, the sound was half consumed by a crack of thunder, giving an indescribably eerie quality. Please say something, Michel. Seriously, there's no time. You can hear us in there, can't you? You're in there behind the door, aren't you? Come on, just one word, Michel. Is it really you, Didier, Georg? For a moment, they seemed to be lost for words. Probably because they almost didn't recognize my voice. There was only a heartbeat, and then Didier spoke. There's a carriage waiting outside. I'm going to unlock the door so you can leave in it. Why? Because Dad's talking crazy. He's saying the Bollinger family has no need of a demon child. That's a mark of shame on our name. He's going to have you executed. Georg! Father? Wants me dead? I felt like the floor had fallen out from under me. Executed? Demon child? Mark of shame? I got a important message. Sorry, just gotta respond to an important message from work. Just give me 1 second. So he was saying, I didn't even deserve to live anymore? It's planned for tomorrow morning. We only just found about ourselves which spot. You prepared a way for me to escape. But why? Why do you even need to ask? Because we're family. Something terrible has gone into Fata. I clenched my teeth, fighting it back a bitter, angry sound. But I couldn't keep all those emotions bottled up for so long. A maelstrom of feelings I thought I had lost in my 2 years of imprisonment swelled up inside me, spilling from my lips. Why? Why are you doing this now? If you really felt that way, then why didn't you come sooner? 2 years I spent locked in this room. Do you have any idea how I felt in that time? Any idea how hard I had to fight to endure, how many times I cried for your help? How hard I pounded on the door begging to be set free? But never once did you come. Not even once. Michel, I scare you, don't I? You think I've gone insane, that I've lost my mind? That I sold my soul to the devil, don't you? No, Michel, we don't. Then why? Why didn't you come and set me free? Michel, no, we don't think you've lost your mind at all. So you didn't want to see me then? You didn't want to face what I've become? Tell me I'm wrong, did you, Georg? You left me here, abandoned me for 2 whole years. Locked me away so you didn't have to see me. I'm sorry, I just, really busy with my art. Georg! For the love of God! I've been getting a ton of commissions down at the court. And Diddy's a knight, He's up to his neck in expeditions. I'm really sorry. As am I. I cannot say that you are wrong. After what happened, I wasn't sure how I was supposed to act around you. Or darn, I just couldn't get around to it. I'm still not sure even now. I knew I had to find the time to collect myself. But I keep putting it off, vainly hoping time would take care of it all. And for that I owe you an apology. But you need to understand, I do not agree with Father's decision. I do not want to lose you. I don't think you're a demon child. And Georg feels the same. And neither of us wants to see you dead. What he said, Michel? Wait, is it George or Georg? Cause fuck, I don't remember my time. We need to get you out of here. I bit down on my lower lip. Hard enough to draw blood. It was that or start sobbing. It's a little late for that. Michel, if you don't get out of here, you're going to be killed. If I'm not an angel sent from heaven, or a demon child, then what am I? What on earth am I? What are you? You're a Bollinger. You're a family Bollinger. And that's all that is to it. Pray that you can forgive me for averting my eyes for so long. Can I trust you? Can I trust that even if the whole world says I'm cursed, that you'll always be on my side? That you'll always be my brothers? Can I put my trust in you once more, Didier, Georg? You absolutely can, Michel. I swear to God on high, and I swear on God of art. Michel, I have no other choice, do I? I couldn't talk Father out of it, could I? I'd rather you didn't try. He's not a man to change his mind. If we were to show up before him, he would likely draw a sword on you himself. It would destroy Mother. I'm sorry we're not doing this only for you. Okay, I'll go. Oh, thank goodness. The carriage will take you to a mansion, Michel. It's a property Father purchased some time ago, but due to rumors about the house it's abandoned, no one wants to buy it from me either. That's unlikely to change. It's the ideal place to keep you out of sight. What kind of rumors? Well, no point in keeping it secret. He has a right to know. They say a witch lives there. He. Georg said he. A witch? I think it's all just made up personally. I went to check the place out, and there was no one there. It was a little dreary, to be sure. I'd hoped a better place arranged for you, but there wasn't enough time. This is only temporary, Michel. I cannot say how long it will be, but Father will pass away eventually. When he does, Georg will inherit the estate, and that will mean you can return. So I ask that you hold out until that time. If I don't leave, I'm going to be executed. So send me anywhere, I won't complain. I'm glad to hear you say that. I'll talk to Father and ensure he does not suspect anything. We'll make this work, don't you worry. Long and short of it is, Dad simply wants you erased from the family. Georg! Sorry. I wasn't trying to be mean, but anyway, once I take over, we're in the clear. You'll be acknowledged as a Bollinger. Bollinger? As a C, okay then. Can I open the door now? Just a minute. You're still not ready? I don't have any clothing. Alright, you wouldn't have. How tall are you now, Michel? Around the same height as you, I think. You're taller than me, damn. Alright, I'll bring you some of my clothes. Thank you. But I don't think I ever heard you say thank you without putting up a fight, Michel. That's not true, I don't think. I'll be back soon. Get what you need together. Alright? Sitting in the carriage waiting outside, listening to the pitter-patter of the rain, I gazed out at my two brothers. I hadn't seen them in 2 years, but they hardly looked any different than how I remembered them. I was the only one who had changed, and dramatically at that. I looked at them, I couldn't possibly help but remember the old days. Playing chess with Didier, learning to draw from Gale. George A. Her siblings out. Goddammit, now that is in my head. However, the ominous sounds of thunder crashing in the distance drowned out those memories. The mansion is several days' travel from there. Hopefully the carriage isn't too uncomfortable. I'll send a package with any supplies you need once a month. Food, clothing, and something to pass the time. If there's anything you want, Michel, just tell me. Now or you can have a certain passive message to me. I can't think of... Actually, wait. I can think of one thing. I'd like a chess set. Alright, I'll have one made. I'd rather have yours, Didier. Would that be possible? Are you sure you want that beaten old thing? Yes, I want that one. Alright, then I'll include it in the first delivery. I'll send you something too, Michel. Anything you want, just tell me. In that case, I'd like some art tools. I'm nowhere near much an artist as you are, Georg, so I don't have anything special. So some canvas and how about some charcoal? And when you're back, I want to see what you made of it, okay? Okay. I know this is already hard enough on you, Michel, but I need to ask you to do something for me. Avoid making contact with anyone who doesn't already know about you. So I can't talk to anybody but servants. Put simply, yes. Tomorrow the world would consider you dead. So we cannot have people finding out you're actually alive. Especially Father. Please do this for me. I've been doing that for 2 years already. Ever since long since lost interest in interacting with everybody. You don't need to keep asking. You asked me to keep you myself. Right. Does anyone else know that I'm alive? Yes, Mother knows. In fact, this was her idea. It was. She loves you, Michel. She really does. Mom just, is having a little trouble facing the truth. So even though she's not here to see you off, I guarantee you she doesn't want to see you dead. She wants to have you in her life again. I suspect Mother will be writing you. So please take time to write her back. She's a troubled woman, but her love for you is true and unwavering. Will you do that? Just a quick little, hey, got your letter, doing great will suffice. Alright. Just so you know, it kills me indeed that we can't stand up to Dad. But as long as he lives, his word is God in this house. Extremely low bar of not wanting your intersex child to be murdered. The thing is, she does love her in just the most horrifyingly painful way. Okay, just, sorry, I was looking at the work thing again. I might have solved the big problem, so, I might be good. So, yeah. Yeah, she loves the idea of her precious daughter that she got. It's also she's also put all of her attachments into, she wants to show her all the womanly things she's supposed to do, and it's supposed to be some sort of body thing that justifies her own life and being like, see, things are good, this is good. If she can teach Michel that, then it is, right? And she just can't, it's like a lot of parents, it's not their actual kid they care about, it's the idea of their kid, all the hopes and dreams they place on them, or like, hey, I'm a good parent, I am successful, I did good, my kid is good, right? Which is distressingly common among certain parents. Well, you never know. He could be gone quicker than you expect. A week from now, and bam, he's dead as Dee's social life. Georg, you may kind of suck, but you're not misgendering Michel, and you're taking time to dunk on Dee while this is happening. But seriously, why are you taking the time to dunk on Dee while this is happening? Is there not an ounce of respect in your body? Oh, give me a break, I'm upset. He's gone way too far. And once he's dragged his arse off to the great beyond, anything goes. Surprise, Michel was alive. Yeah, I suppose. Until then, we'll take care of things here. Tomorrow's gonna be the performance of our lives. Crying like a couple of big babies and laughing our tails off inside. You'll forgive me if I have trouble trusting the loose tongue of yours. I'm not stupid, I know this is important. Not even Amy will expect the thing. Amy. Yeah, not even she can know. It's gonna crush her, I'm sure, but less people know, who know the better. When Georg said her name, my whole body went shamefully cold. It had been a year and a half since the hell she'd been putting me through, but every last detail of it remained carved into my mind and body. There was no way she'd be even slightly sad about my death. She might act it, but she would most certainly been elated by the news. It seemed Georg still had yet to see what lay beneath the woman's mask. I know you two were close. Huh? Are you worried about how this might affect her? What? She cared for you for 6 months, didn't she? When you wouldn't let the servants in. From what I hear, you got real close to dying in that. You wouldn't even eat unless she was there. Who the hell told you that? What? Is that not what happened? Did something happen between you, Michel? Amy, didn't you Never mind. I can't tell them. I can't put what I went through into words. It'll only worsen my shame. Especially not in front of my brothers. Georg, how are things between you and Amy? You're still letting what happened 2 years get to you. Well, I mean, at the time, things were a total disaster. I'm all excited about getting myself a pretty little wife, only to find out she's walking the boat with someone else. I cried for weeks. Yeah, I'm sorry. Deep down though, she ain't actually a bad girl. She's young and kids make mistakes. After all came out, she turned over a new leaf. Started doing me on something serious. Well, it's hard not to let one mistake go like that when she's trying so hard to make up with me. The age excuse doesn't work for Dee, though. For about a year, things were really rough between us. Didn't even want to look at him. By the end of the day, we're family. We can get past anything. Besides, because you let the cat out of the bag, that gave me something to hold over Dee. All things considered, I'm not complaining. So to say you're happy then, Georg? Sure would, yep. Believe it or not, I'm kinda head over heels for her. Hard not to like a girl like Amy. Imagine what Michelle's feeling right now. Oh, I see. Do you really feel that bad about 2 years ago? So she's still keeping the good girl facade around Georg and Didier. No one else knows she's actually a sadistic cat indeed. There's nothing less trustworthy in the world than a woman who's all smile. But if Georg thinks he's happy, I can't take that away from him. Michel. Oh right, yes, I do feel good the way I lost control of my emotions and took it out on you guys. It happens to everyone. In fact, you could stand to do a little more shouting and fussing. Then you could... Because I have an undeveloped social skills? You heard that? You got one hell of a nasty streak, huh, indeed? I'm glad to hear you're still on good terms. It wasn't my intention to pit you against each other. We know the blame falls on my shoulders. I want you to know something, Michel. Though your transformation was too much for Mother and Father to accept. With enough time, everything will go back to the way it was before, just like it did for myself and Georg. None of this is your fault. It was all unfortunate timing. God's a little bit of a jerk too. Try not to forget I am a knight, Georg. In time. In time. Speaking of which, we don't have much time left. I'm going to tell the coachman to set off, okay? Didier. Yes. Tell me the truth, will the three of us ever meet again? Why would you ever ask that? Of course we will. Not a chance of letting this being our last family get-together. One last question then. Yes. Am I your brother? Well, I mean, look at you. Don't look like much of a sister to me. So yeah, I'd say you are. I see. So long then. Farewell. And may good health bless you until we meet again. Until then, Michel. Farewell. Before singing me off for good, they both give me strong, firm hugs. Didier first and then Georg. The warmth I felt in their arms, in my family's arms, slowly spread through my chilled body, which made it that much more difficult to part ways. The wheels of the carriage rattled against the wet stone-paved road. I struck my head around the window, watching as they shrunk into the distance, standing there in the rain until they were completely out of view. A tightness filled my breast. With every glimmer of hope I had for my new life, was a match of an equal degree of darkness and uncertainty. Would I ever make it back home? And if I did, would people still call me a demon child? Having to write mother was another uncomfortable weight on my soul. The thought of having to play a girl for her made me sick. Georg had acted like it would be nothing, but it wasn't that easy. It was more than mere pretend. Didier had said that with time things would change, but how could he be certain that those changes would be for the better? The wooden wheels turned, carrying me away to that cursed mansion. The next thing I know, I'm sinking into a vast void. Darkness cuffs my hand and legs, restricting my movement. Images of the past I'd kept buried away for so long stream past me. This isn't how I wanted it to happen. Not coming from my own mouth, but being laid bare for all to see without my consent. That wasn't how I wanted her to find out about my secret, about my shameful history. I warned you, my dear. I told you didn't want to reclaim your old self. If you had simply let it be, you wouldn't be here now, forced to relive it all. Now do you understand? And Morgana, just uncloseting someone without their will. Ugh. The tale I spun from beyond the fourth door was as much for you as it was for her. There you were a young man with a sad fate, but you met a wonderful woman and fell in love with her, and then died in the arms of tragedy. The sequence of events is not far from the truth, but I was able to turn into something enchanting and beautiful. I got rid of all the nasty little details. Your ugliness, your body troubles, all of it. Doesn't it seem a bit unfair, Michel? You tore down the walls around Giselle's heart, around her past, but you wanted to keep your own nice and safe, hidden away. She has every right to be upset. You were afraid she wouldn't accept you, were you not? And that's precisely what happened. But can you honestly blame her? The truth you've kept hidden away is not something most would be able to accept. The prince who came riding to save her. Silence! Wasn't actually a man. Please, enough. I've seen enough. Let it stay buried, please. Just stop this. I don't want to see it. I don't want anything to do with it. What a sad little creature you are, my dear. Not a woman in this world would have any interest in you now. You surround yourself with layer upon layer of walls, covered yourself with this patchwork, barely held together quilt of masks. It's the only thing keeping you together. You're the frailest one of all, the weakest. And it's about time you accepted that and stopped trying to fight it. I am not weak. Oh, is that so? Let's proceed with the tale then, shall we? Face the one you hate the most in the world. Yourself, your weakness, your ugliness. Face it in despair. No, don't. Once again, my own desires and my own wishes are completely irrelevant. The past falls out before me once more, and the witch is exactly right. I despise the man I was then, teeming with vain hope and foolish dreams. I'd rather pretend that part of me never existed. But I have no choice. I'm dragged back into the life I once lived. My pleas for mercy, fading into the darkness, into dark nothingness. I couldn't remember how long it'd been since the capital disappeared into the distance, but I've been on the road for some time now. We'd long since left the paved roads behind. The carriage walked back and forth as it proceeded down the rough dirt path. For hours I stared through the windows, and unfamiliar scenery followed it past. Eventually a fog settled the air, making it difficult to discern night from day. We made our way through the dark dense woods, and beyond them, like the world fading into view after a dream, a mansion appeared before us. All the windows were either shuttered or boarded, encasing the house in darkness. In a way, I felt like all I had done was move from one prison to a much larger one. Briefly, I thought they had absolutely been sealed to keep anyone from seeing me inside, but my coming here was a very recent development. More than likely, the house had been built in this condition when it was. This house had been in this condition when it was initially purchased. Quite the piece of property my father had found himself with. I wonder if he had been swindled by its previous owner. It was a gloomy, uninviting place, but it didn't appear to be in disrepair. The coachman left my luggage outside the door, gave me an empty farewell, and then went on his way. I was entirely alone. I spent some time just staring at the forest, but naturally there was nothing of interest to be found there. So quietly I just turned around and opened the door of the mansion. It's certainly dark. I could barely even see my own feet. Briefly I considered trying to unshut a window or two, but I ended up sliding against it. The less inviting the place looked, the easier it would be for me to avoid contact with the outside world, as Didier had recommended. Standing there in darkness for several minutes, my eyes gradually grew accustomed to the lack of light. which is hardly ideal. It's sufficient to take a look around the house. The inside didn't seem to have received the same level of care as the outside. Everything was dusty and the air was many years stale. But I was in a cleaning mood. So I dug through my luggage for a bundle of candles, lighting one with a flint. A stained glass window. Examining the large room I found myself in, I came across the stained glass window depicting an angel. The archangel after whom I had been named looked solemnly down upon me. Quit the joke. Two columns of evenly spaced pews ran the length of the room, all facing the multicolored window. I set a candlestick on the podium of some sort, which is when I realized this is a chapel. A flat length of silver, bent in the middle, was mounted at the pulpit's base. When I saw this, I knew exactly where it used to be. A cross. The pews weren't facing the same stained glass with the cross. Why then? I felt though the mansion had been built around the chapel rather than the opposite. I was perplexed as to why anyone would do that. But of course, there was no one around to save my curiosity. Taking the candlestick back in my hand, I made my way beyond the pulpit. There sat a small metal door. I pressed one hand against the cool surface and my heart leapt. It was abnormally cold, though the door itself seemed perfectly normal, and inexplicable anxieties right through me. It was a very unusual sensation. My instinct told me I should stay far, far away, and my heart told me it was my duty to say what lay beyond. What am I going to find back there? After a few moments' hesitation, I decided to act in opposition to my instinct. I was looking at a long spiral staircase. The wooden stairs stretched so high, I couldn't tell where they ended. An observation tower, perhaps. As if being pushed forward by some unhuman force, I mounted the staircase. But at the third or fourth loop, soft light began peeking into the stone tower through regularly spaced rectangular openings in the stone walls. Through one such window, I gazed outside, and far off in the distance, beyond the seemingly endless ocean of trees, I saw a small village. Nowhere I'm ever going to go. So many stairs. It had been quite some time since I exerted myself this much. I had hardly had an opportunity locked away in my chambers. With every step I took, I could hear my joints creaking and my muscles screaming. I was long since out of breath, only staying upright with the help of a wall. This is pitiful, damn it. But turning back never occurred to me. I had to keep climbing, had to make it to the top. It was that feeling of necessity that pushed my exhausted body upward. By the time I reached the top, I was practically gasping for air. Sweat streamed down my forehead. I wiped it aside, turning my gaze toward yet another door. But unlike the first, what on earth? A tangle of rope covered the surface, layers upon layers of it, making the intent abundantly clear. Nothing shall come in or out. It didn't look like it had been put there recently either, as much of it was rotted through. Out of curiosity, I grabbed at the coil and yanked. The rope snapped in several places, chunks falling limply to the floor. That wasn't enough to allow the door to open then. People only sealed doors like this for a reason, largely because they didn't want or couldn't allow others to see what hid behind them, like what they did to me. For moments, I felt as though I was looking down at myself from outside my body. If it hadn't been this man, but someone else standing there, would they have turned back to the side of the sealed-off doors, acting as though nothing was there? Or would they have done as I did? I ground my teeth, a mix of annoyance and bitterness rushing through me. But I did not hesitate. I held the flame of the candle up to the wall of the rope, careful not to set the whole thing ablaze, slowly, carefully burning through them one by one. It was repetitive and time-consuming, but I persisted, wiping sheets of sweat before it streamed into my eyes. The sun was well on its way down before I finally managed to expose the door. I took a deep breath, looked up at it, and gulped. There was something indescribably chilling about the door. And then I pushed it open. A barely noticeable breeze passed past me. A single ray of sunlight shone into the room, coming from a single window sitting high atop the wall. It cast a milky white patch of light on the hard floor, revealing the fact that I was not alone. The rumors say a witch lives in this mansion. There I saw in this cursed house. A skeleton with only one arm. A cursed mansion for a cursed man. It was like I was destined to end up here. I had no way of finding out who the skeleton belonged to, so I left it there at the top of the tower and retreated into thought. I wondered to myself, how had the one-armed person died? How had they felt locked in that room, staring up at the sole window so far out of reach? But the only thing they would have seen was the sky and the occasional bird. Had they yearned for more light, or had they come to despise the tiny patch of it that trickled into the room? Had there been some sort of wicked criminal imprisoned for wrongdoing? Not all prisoners are necessarily bad people. Having been branded with a non-existent curse, I couldn't help but think perhaps something similar happened to whoever they were. Vainly reaching out for the sun, constantly praying, what had gone through their mind as they withered away? Would anyone ever come for me? Would my brothers keep their word? Or would I, years from now, end up another pile of dry bones somewhere in this house? Unwanted and alone, robbed of all hope with no one but darkness to talk to, as it sunk its teeth deeper and deeper into me. That corpse could be me in the future. Did he, Georg? Did you really send me here to keep me hidden? Or is this to be my grave? Can I put my faith in you? Can I trust you when I say I'll be able to return? That everyone will happily accept me? That we'll all be together again? That we'll play chess, that we'll draw pictures, that no one will be left behind? All I really wanted was for people to accept me for who I was. To accept that I was a man. No, that I had grown to resemble a man. That I had the heart of a man. I didn't need anything else. I didn't want to cause anyone anguish. I didn't want to hate anyone. I simply wished to be who I was, know who I wanted to be. And I didn't want to be treated like I was strange or different. If that was asking too much, then at the very least, I wanted to have one person in my life who truly understood me. Didier, Georg, I pray that you can be that for me. Looking quietly at the mansion, all-encompassing darkness, I waited and hoped that the day might arrive when I could come out of hiding. However, 1, 2, 3 years later, I'd still not been set free. Only my mother wrote me, and in all her letters she said the same thing. When your curse is broken, come back, sweetheart. When your curse is broken, I want you back in my life. When your curse is broken, everything will be back to normal. I wait expectantly for the day you're free of that terrible curse. The curse would never be broken, though. What I was now was what I was meant to be. All that time I spent as a girl, none of that was real. Didier had said that he didn't think I was cursed. My brothers didn't think I was some hellish demon child. So no, the curse would never be broken. Because there was no curse to break. I wasn't cursed at all. There was no damned curse. But the flow of time eroded away with me, slowly killing any confidence I once had. Sucking me dry of all trust. For others and myself. And with enough time, I started questioning my own beliefs. And about what I was, I started thinking that perhaps I was cursed. Much like they had at the Bollinger estate, the servants who came every month did their best to avoid making eye contact. But beyond just bringing me food, he was also checking in on me and making sure I didn't attempt to run away. And every month, he went back and told Mother the same thing. That my curse had not been broken. Do you have the answers I seek, O Father in heaven? If you do, I ask you to guide me. To please tell me what I am. If I truly am cursed. Perhaps you could tell me how much my soul weighs too. Probably not very much. I spent enough time alone in the dark mansion to drive anyone mad. The more time that passed, the more I grew to question myself, my worth as a human being. And whenever the self-doubt and self-loathing became too much to take, I trekked up to the top of the observation tower to see the light. Standing there on the hard floor, I placed my hand on the skeleton's leg, its shoulder, its hand. From the size of the bones, whoever it appeared to be was still young when their life withered away. Poor child. Even I feel blessed compared to you. Oh, how miserable it must have been to be locked away in this tower, to have your arm mercilessly severed. You have my pity, though. I alone shall mourn your death, and I alone shall take comfort in your presence. You poor, poor child. If I pretend to pity someone who had it worse than me, I was able to feel somewhat better about myself. Because if I was in the position to pity someone else, then conversely, I wasn't in a position to be pitied. Vainly, foolishly trying to convince myself of a lie. I spent hours and days alone in that tower, holding the dry bones in my arms. Now there was a sight to let credence to my alleged badness. Over the time, the air in the mountain seemed to thicken as if a fog were condensing. Water pushed out of the air, swallowing me up, suffocating me. A putrid mire. I was trapped at the bottom of this thick black sludge, and soon I lost track of the passage of time, my only landmarks being the dates on Mother's letters. Before I knew it, 8 years had passed. What the hell is this? I hadn't heard my own voice in so long. I'd almost forgotten what it sounded like. There was a delivery that day, but it wasn't the usual package. The servant was indeed carrying a large rectangular object draped in cloth. Shoving it into my hands, he said, "The regular supplies will be here in a couple of days," then ran off. Presumably he was afraid to spend any more time than necessary with the cursed man. But I didn't bother to say anything about it. I knew it was a waste of breath, and was not inclined to hold it against him if he didn't want to look me in the eye, to exchange words. All I could reasonably do was sit back and bear it. As long as I kept my mouth shut, the man could do his job in peace. By the candlelight, I began unwrapping the packages the servant had delivered. From within, a sheet of parchment fell to the floor, and inside the package was a painting. Just looking at it, I couldn't tell what it was, aside from the fact that it's a portrait of a woman. I knew those brushstrokes, though. They were very distinctly Georg's. The woman depicted had white hair. White hair. There was a flash, a fresh jolt of pain that had nearly faded away. The half-dozen needles piercing my chest. So much blood had spilled from his gouges I had long since lost any sensation of pain, but now it was back. No, Georg, you did it! My whole body froze, the blood in my veins came to a halt. I couldn't breathe. I was drowning in a pool of imaginary water. I crouched down to pick up the sheet of parchment. It was a letter in Mother's handwriting. The first line read, as it did in all her correspondences: "My beloved daughter, Michel, every day I prayed that your curse might be broken. But lately I've come to think that perhaps the reason you remain cursed is because you've forgotten what you're supposed to be. So long have you spent in that cursed form. It's a little surprising you would lose sight of yourself. How can you return to your true self if you do not even remember what that is? So I asked Georg to paint you a picture, hoping it might help you break free of your curse." It just hits right in the forehead, Jesus Christ. And the worst part is Georg, who promised that he thought of Michel as a brother, painted it. It's lovely, wouldn't you agree? That flowing white hair and skin like glass, those deep enchanting red eyes, those slender fingers and modest feminine frame, those soft lips. It's not you when you were younger, though. Instead, I had him imagine what you would look like now. That is what you will look like when your curse is broken. Isn't that wonderful? Imagine it. Envision yourself, your true self. Remember who you are. Recall your true self. I wait eagerly until the day you come back to me, looking beautiful as you do in this painting. My dear sweet Michel. This is you. This is the real you. You're beautiful, my little girl, and I love you dearly. That awful fuss all those years ago, we can pretend that never happened. Forget all about the dreadful things that the curse made you. Become the girl you used to be, the girl you were meant to be, so we can once more be a happy family. This hurts to read. Fuck off. I am waiting, forever waiting for you. The painting he slashed and he so desperately hid. The letter ended there, leaving me with the woman and the painting staring back at me, her eyes seemingly insisting that I was not me, that she was the real me. I was nothing more than a fraud, laughing at me, scoffing at me for ever thinking I was anything but female, mocking me for stubbornly insisting I wanted to be a man. The pain in my chest swelled, spilling from my mouth in grunts and moans. I screamed from the bottom of my lungs. Why? I yanked at my hair. Why, Georg? Slammed the paintings against the floor. You said I could believe you. You swore to the god of art. Why would you do this to me? You said to yourself you didn't think I was cursed. You acknowledge me as your brother. You know this isn't me, so why? Why would you make this? I've been waiting for so long. I put my trust in you and Didier. I trusted you. I believed you'd always support me. Was that all a lie? Deep down you really think I'm cursed just like Mother. That's why you haven't written to me. Why haven't you answered any of my letters? Where did my faith get me? Why did you even help me escape? Was it all for show? Was it my execution just a lie and an excuse for you to send me somewhere far away? What was it? Tell me, or tell me the truth. What about you, Didier? Where do you stand? This is... No. My voice was getting hoarse. I didn't have the strength to hold it in, and everything came spilling out of me, squeezed out by the phantom water. And the white-haired girl in the painting just stared back at me, smiling. I bit down on my lip as hard as I could. A metallic taste spread through my mouth, drops of blood trickling to the floor. Pulling the knife I used to open, the monthly deliberation of my village stand, I lifted high into the air, gathering what remained of my strength. This isn't me! And slashed the woman's face with it. This isn't me! This isn't me! I am not this woman! I'm a man, carved into it. This isn't how I look. With everything I had, don't try to erase who I really am. Don't try to call me repulsive. Don't say I'm an abomination. I tore into that smile, contempt surging from every side. This woman isn't real. I want to curse the whole damn world. Every last word, every last thing, this wretched mind that become my life. My brothers for happily going about the lies I suffered here in the darkness. My delusional mother for refusing to acknowledge who I was. My father for trying to have me killed. Amy for making me realize I was a man, then torturing me for coming about it. Everyone. I didn't care anymore. I wanted everyone who ever wronged me to suffer the same way I had. I can make that happen. A voice rang out. I can curse them for you, my dear. It was a woman's voice, muffled like there were several walls between me and her. Who's there? I swiped up my candlestick, striking forward to the sides behind me. But there was no one else around. Give it a little thought, it's not that difficult. And when you figure it out, come to me. I've been waiting so long for someone like you, someone with such hatred for the world. How am I supposed to know who you are? How could you not, my dear? You visited me so many times, held me in your arms, whispered poor child in my ear again and again. What? No, that's not possible. I see, I finally truly lost my mind. If that's what you wish to believe, that's your choice. By the way I see it, if you had truly lost your mind, you wouldn't be in so much pain. The voice, still muffled and unclear, seemed to be coming from somewhere far away and very close at the same time. Find your way to me and open the door once more. Let me out of my cage. Give me your hand. I knew in the back of my mind that it was all absurd. But nonetheless, I did as the voice said. I let myself be drawn in by the pleasant whispers. The archangel stood proudly upon his glass perch, looking down at me. His gaze seemed almost judgmental, but I marched for the tower unconcerned. For so long I have been waiting for the day I'd be rid of the darkness, for the day someone would truly set me free. When you arrived at this house, I felt the hands of fate at work, that you were led here, that you were meant to come to this place. You've been through so much to get here. I know your pain. I know how it feels to be locked up, to be tortured and used for others' gain. You were the only one to ever have pity for me, and I shall be the only one to have compassion for you. You were the only one to stay at my side, and I shall do the same for you. You can give me life again. You can resurrect me. Now open the door. Michel. I felt like I was no longer in control of my own body. Her voice was tender in a way unlike either Mother's or Amy's. Enticingly so. Standing the way at the top of the observation tower, I pushed open the door. And the first thing I saw was a ray of light shining through the window. And nothing else. Thank you for opening the door. It was empty. The skeleton which was sitting there as long as I had been in this house had vanished without a trace. I spun around, my gaze darting back and forth across the chamber, but there was no one there. Only her voice whispering in my ear. You made this possible. You gave me the chance to have my revenge. Revenge? Now I can make those men suffer a hell even worse than the one they put me through. Constant everlasting despair. Their flesh may turn to dust, but so long as their souls live on, their torture will know no end. The tenderness in her voice crumbled away, leaving only raw loathing behind. She then let out a half-muffled cackle. Who are you? Oh, you poor dear. They locked you up in here without telling you whose house I was. You poor sad thing. This is exactly the kind of person I need. You're not the witch, are you? That I am. I'm the cursed witch who loathes this puny, wretched world, curses it, and my name is Morgana. Morgana. I assumed the witch was nothing but a legend, a tale. If you don't believe me, I would be happy to show you. Let's see. I can place a curse on someone you have a grudge against, drag them down into the dark abyss. You're the one who granted me freedom, after all. Sympathized with me, pitied me, appreciated me. You happily embraced my filthy corpse, and for that I will grant you your wish. Wishes can come true, Michel, much the same way I was able to come back to life. If you remain steadfast in your desires, they will become reality, for devotion and yearning are the fountain from which miracles spring. I cannot leave the mansion's grounds, but that is but a minor inconvenience. Tell me who you wish to curse, and I can lead them here. I can force the cross you were made to bear onto them. I believe in my power to perform miracles, because you made my miracle a reality. So tell me, my dear, who will be first? Your second brother who made that ridiculous painting? Georg? Shall we kill him? He deserves at least that. He brought you more than enough pain. But if you'd rather, you could curse your mother instead, or that woman who sent you on this path. Or perhaps you prefer your father. With him gone, you could return home. Ask and I will perform a miracle for you. I didn't think she was lying either. As ridiculous as the whole affair sounded, the skeleton had disappeared from the tower, and I was hearing a disembodied voice. But beyond that, the voice seemed to have a sort of magnetism to it. If magic truly did exist in this world, then her words were laced with it. There was a power in her voice, something that repelled any instinct I might have to doubt the things she said. So I, on the verge of losing my grasp on reason altogether, believed every word the witch said. I wanted to curse them, to curse my brother's mother, father, Amy, and the witch was saying I could do precisely that. What will it be then, my dear? There is no price. I don't require a sacrifice or a dark ritual to perform my magic. I simply wish to show my gratitude. I want you to have that which you desire. Who do you want to curse? The witch's sweet whispers hung in the air for a brief moment before whispering away. All the muscles in my body tensed up. I felt woozy like the floor was wobbling beneath me. It took everything I had not to fall over. Who did I want to curse? Oh, you are welcome to choose more than one. All of them, even. I could curse them, and the witch would kill my family. I would be free. No one would know that I'd been born female. Why don't you become the new head of the state? Who would I curse? Who would I kill? Didier, Georg, mother, father, Amy, all of them? They had exiled me to this place. Have your revenge. A black butterfly fluttered across the room's single shaft of light, and I stared absently up at it. Dozens of memories of emotions flashed through my mind. But at the end of the day, we're family. We can get past anything. With enough time, everything will go back to the way it was before. Just like it did for myself and Georg. Why would I think about them now? They've abandoned me. Left me in the room for 2 years and left me here for 8 more. They don't care whether I'm alive or dead. So why should I? Have you made up your mind? I have. Then tell me, my dear, who will it be? Who will you curse? No one. I cannot curse anyone, Morgana. Surely you jest. I know just how much you wish to see them dead. I felt all of your hatred, your despair. All you mean to tell me you can't curse them? It struck me just now that I can't do that to family. I cannot curse my own family. This is the family that cast you aside, labeled you cursed, made you suffer for years, and locked you away in this remote mansion. And they don't even feel the slightest bit of remorseful about it. Any of it. I understand that. I know that they don't give the same weight to their words as I do. I figured that out long ago. I know I'm alone in my prayers, that they don't want the same things I do, that I trusted them more than they ever deserve. So why then can you not curse them? Because I don't want to hate them. Because I don't want to bring them suffering. On the contrary, I want them to be happy. You have no place in that happiness, though. Is this happiness to rest upon your misfortune? Then why should you not drag them down so you can find respite for yourself? I would find no respite by cursing them. How can you be so sure of that, my dear? I most certainly found a great deal of it myself. You're trying to follow your conscience, I can see that, but that good is superficial. All it does is shackle you. Remove the shackles and everything will be so much easier. Nothing you say can convince me to kill my family. Why not someone who isn't family then? Surely you can think of at least one person you'd like to see dead. Oh, I most certainly can. I could kill her 12 times and it wouldn't be enough. But just because I would be happy with her death doesn't mean there are people who wouldn't be sad to lose her. Remove any one person from that group and the whole thing could come crashing down. All because I couldn't restrain my own hatred. Your concern for them will devour you. You don't have to care for them, Michel. That's not on you. Don't think I'm not aware of that. You aren't. You don't know that at all. The only reason you give them any consideration is because deep down, you still have hope. But hope has a way of forsaking those who give it a home. You have a problem, and you need to take care of it before it kills you. You and I, we are cut from the same cloth. While you may still care for your family now, in time you will come to curse them. Consider that a warning, Michel. Your hatred, your curse, is what brought me back to life, and there's no getting around that. We do have plenty of time, though. No need to rush for a decision. Nothing's more powerful than family. Family? Have you seen family cause anything other than family cause this much pain before? This is a lot of pain. Aren't you nice, Michel? Don't you just want to go ape shit? I'll show you what you truly desire deep, deep, deep down. Until you finally acknowledge it. Black Butterfly hovered by the window disappeared, and the witch's voice grew distant, overwhelmed. I collapsed to the floor unconscious. Had I really said what I did out of love for my family? Or was I just afraid of crossing that line? Was Morgana right? Was my heart now home to a terrible monster? If I had actually resurrected the witch with my hatred, maybe that was what I was now. Darkness seeped down over me once more. I was once again encased in a pool of despair. Slowly, ever so slowly, it wore away at me, eroding me into nothing. If I didn't come up for air, I soon would take the witch's offer. Cackling like a demon, I would place a curse on someone, I would kill them. Reviving her was a mistake I never should have made. And not for the greater good or anything so noble. But every time she spoke, a little more of my spirit died. Curse them, kill them, curse them, she serenaded directly into my ears. No matter where I hid, or how deep I put my fingers in my ears, her voice resounded directly in my head. Hearing an incessant stream of curses from a disembodied voice was so unreal, so unbelievable, that it felt as though I was being dragged away from the realm of humanity. There was an odd, unsettling magnetism in her voice, allowing her malevolence to seep into me. It was downright torturous. Curse them. Revile them. Do you really need to be in your right mind, honestly? Your fixation on holding on to your sanity is what's causing so much anguish. Admit it. There's more darkness, more seething malice inside you than anyone else. That's why you were the one who resurrected me. Admit it. You do want to curse them, don't you? You do want to kill them, don't you? I can still hear her voice. Hate, hate. Revenge, hate. No, I don't. I don't want that at all. I've told you this already. You're so desperate to deny it, Michel. It can only mean that it's true. That would be able to maintain your calm if you're truly free of guilt. I do not wish to kill Didier or Gay or her mother or father. I have no desire whether to see them dead. Your constant babbling is messing with my head. Be honest with yourself, Michel. You do imagine what it'd be like to hold their warm intestines on your hands, standing over their bodies. No, I don't. That's not what I am. Don't lie, Michel. You climbed the tower, you opened the door. You sought me. No, I wasn't in control. No, Michel, you were. Enough, I'm done listening to you. Now don't take your anger out on inanimate objects, Michel. Do you even know where I am? Right, where are you? I'm standing behind you. In front of you. Now I'm beside you. You're just playing around with me, Morgana, mocking me for your own amusement. Not at all, my dear. In fact, I consider you a close friend. Why would I mock someone who means so much to me? We are not close. You will come to understand in time that we are very much the same. And when you do, you will also know that I am the one person who truly understands you. Enough! 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 Let it all go, Michel. Curse it all with me. Despise it. Kill it. Make it suffer. Curse it! Please just stop. And where might you be going, Michel? Wherever you run, I will always be at your side, by your side. Are you going to pray to God to exercise me? Now that's quite amusing, considering I'm a child of... I'm not trying to hurt you, Michel. On the contrary... Stop talking, please. Just stop. I want to set you free from your misery. I can't take it anymore. Please just be quiet. I'm here to deliver your monthly package. I see. Michel. Something the matter? I opened the door and there stood a servant at the Bollinger estate. He seemed to be quite perturbed by the sight of me. I must have looked terrible. Morgana's voice, her words, sapped my spirit dry. A normal person, not a witch or a spirit or a demon. I knew good and well that the servants would never do anything to help me. He wouldn't believe a word I said, but at that point, his humanity was enough for me to latch onto. Help me, please. Pardon? The witch, she talks to me, she never stops talking. I'm begging you, please get me out of here. Let me go back to home in your carriage. Please, please let me go back. The witch's voice, it's killing me. It won't go away, I can't escape it. Please, I need your help. You've gone mad. You're crazy. See, this is why I didn't want this job. I had to deliver supplies to this damn cursed mansion. I have to get anywhere near the Bollingers in this town. No, I'm perfectly sane. You sold your soul to the devil? Don't think I'm in the dark about that. No, I did no such thing. You're completely insane. No, I'm done with this damn job. It's not worth all the riches in the world. Not for me to have to be around a lunatic for you for even a minute. Why am I? I'm not crazy. I'm perfectly sane. I'm not mad. Michel, your mind is far, far from sound. I won't hear it. I'm not mad, damn it. I'm not insane. I won't hear it. About how mean humans were. The witch spent nearly every waking moment of every day at my side, talking and talking about how mean-spirited humans were, how ugly they were. An endless loop of vitriol, and she never seemed to tire of it either. Every single day, on and on and on. She also made a point of reminding me about myself, everything I was trying to get away from. Damn. Morgana's the turf. But as much as I fought to ignore her, to not let the things she said in, she slipped past every wall I put up, her every word warping me. There was no escape. Curse them, revile them, remember the things they did to you. Close your eyes and envision it. Remember the scorn in their eyes, the way their lips twisted as they laughed. You need only curse them, and you can wipe their reprehensible spurts out of existence. Fucking none of these characters can catch a break. It's the worst. I'm serious, please stop this, Morgana. Please stop talking to me. I'm begging you. I seriously can't take it anymore. Oh, now, why would you say that, my dear? It's just the two of us in this gloomy old house. I don't see what's wrong with a little conversation. Your voice, everything you say is eating away at me. I care for you, and everything I say is meant to help set you free. So I'll continue saying it. You're allowed to hate the people who have wronged you. They don't deserve happiness. Someone who's always smiling for you is someone who's certain to betray you. Someone who values themselves above all will not hesitate to put others' lives on the line. Someone who covets wealth and power still sacrifices family and friends to obtain it. These are the kinds of people you once surrounded yourself with. I have told you repeatedly I will not curse anyone. Why must you be so stubborn, my dear? I could ask you the same. Why won't you just leave me be? Because I can't stand to see you like this. With one word, you could be free of your pain. But because you insist on shackling yourself to your idea of family, you're making yourself miserable. We're the same type of person, Michel. The type who has the right to curse others. Regardless of what childhood you had, or how much hatred instilled in you, Michel, you're a cursed man named after an angel. You need to realize how twisted you're. Man! Morgana, not actually a turf, but trying to be a turf to break down Michel. Still horrible. I'm not twisted. Do you honestly still believe you're normal? Tell me what's normal about someone who's happily embraces a skeleton. Tell me what's normal about someone who hacks away at a girl's face with a knife. Aye. You're not normal, and I'll repeat it as many times as I have to. You need to accept that. Why must you hold so tight to your sanity? If you just let go, you wouldn't have to suffer. No one's going to come and save you, my dear. The only thing who can save you anymore is your loathing. We are the same. I'm nothing like you. Man? Yes, a man. With that body? Oh, my dear friend. Let me tell you something you should be quite pleased to hear. Do you know what some say about people like you, those who are neither male nor female? That they are like unto God. Like unto God. Indeed. You should have been worshipped for your divinity, but instead your family cursed you. Just like us who shoot Namir, and we've had intersect priestess and priestess, like, for gods, like, for a long time. There's actually a huge tradition of that in a lot of early religions. It's basically just a way for them to all explain, hey, your kid's different, they're special. And that's how, like, a lot of cultures dealt with that, actually. They can see the future, they're a priest of a god. I've always wondered about how many, like, eunuchs or, like did have a gender identity where they wanted to be presented as female. That's a separate thing, but that's also a thing. From the second life was the first first breathed into you. Your fate was decided. No, you're wrong. If I really were wrong, you would not be here now. You'd be back home with your family. Perhaps you would have a pretty little wife, living a normal, happy life together. But you long since strayed from that path. It's well out of sight now. I have not. I am human. I'm a person, a normal person, the youngest son of the Bollinger estate. I'm an ordinary man. No one, not a single person believed me. Not even the witch was willing to consider me human, never mind my family. The archangel whose name I shared looked down. The witch tried to drag me into her world. My past constantly ate away at me. I had been imprisoned in this place for far too long. There was nothing I could do about my body. All of those things combined threatened to break me. I let out a scream, then stumbled out of my room in a frenzy. I had to get out of that place. It didn't matter anymore that I was forbidden from leaving the property. I just wanted all of it out of sight. And they wouldn't let me come home, then I would run away. It was all I could do. I wanted to get myself anywhere that might have even the tiniest bit of light to share with me. I was desperate. Someone, anyone, please, tell me I'm human. Tell me I'm a man. Anyone, please tell me I'm not cursed. But when I opened the front door, searing light pierced my eyes. Ah! The world quickly went white and I couldn't see a thing in there. Ah, ah, ah! My arm began to burn beneath the sunlight. Ah! Black smoke rose from sizzling flesh. A sickening stench flooded the air. Ah, 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 ah! Excruciating pain quickly spread to the rest of my body. What? Why am I? Water! I slammed the door shut and restoring darkness. Gasping, groaning, I trudged back to the house in search of water, which I'm sure the witch Morgana observed with a great deal of pity. I don't think you're in need of any water. Take another look at yourself. With what a little light managed to worm its way in the corridor to guide me, I dragged myself to the chapel, stopping beneath the pale light shining through the stained glass window. Yeah, she definitely doesn't respect his identity and what. She's willing to trample all over him and his feelings and make him suffer and constantly assault him as well, just to get her own ends, right? And Michel has nothing to do with the revenge. She's taking joy in it, like the way she words things. It's malicious, and it's not like sad, like something that she has to do. It's that something that she's still like distracting herself from her own deal by doing that. She's taking joy in it too, is like the part that's really fucked up. About someone who's suffering, someone who has never wronged her, who's only ever felt pity and compassion for her. I wasn't burned. In fact, my skin hadn't even turned the slightest bit pink. There's nothing wrong with me as far as I could see. Where had the pain come from then? And the distinct stench of burning flesh? This is your doing? Isn't it, Morgana? I know what you're experiencing. It's happened to me too. Sometimes enough emotional distress and despair can cause physical pain. The mind and body are much more tightly linked than you think, and your mind is far more damaged than you know. You poor, poor thing. You have my sympathy, my dear. You sad little child. Collapsed on the floor in front of the multicolored window, and felt like the whole world was closing in on me. Or perhaps metamorphosing around me. I had completely and utterly cornered, and there was no getting around that. Which left me with only one option. To stop fighting and accept the harsh reality before me. I'd make everything so much easier. The whole world said there was something wrong with me. I was the only one who tried to deny it. So in the world's eyes, that meant there was something wrong with me. I was abnormal. I was irregular. I was mad. I was cursed. I was not human. I was not a man. If I'm not human or male, maybe I should just call myself a witch. I did, however, remain firm in my refusal to curse anyone, unwilling to give up the last piece of my humanity. Everything else I let go of, which took a great deal of weight off me. I stopped caring and I stopped thinking. I stopped wanting someone to accept me. I stopped wanting to run away. Sunlight no longer caused me agonizing unseen burns, but in exchange I became emotionally empty, and discarded my faith and my hope, building a shell of cynicism and closing myself within it. And in time, that became my normal. I began to believe it was what I wanted. Tranquility filled my days. Time trudged onward at an imperceptible pace. The witch's whispers no longer caused me aggravation. I'm gonna call it here for tonight. I plan to get a little further, but it's been a good while. So as usual, we're gonna look for someone to raid. Gotta mention, tomorrow I'm going to be streaming Wonderful 101, which is one of the greatest character action games of all time, and I'm going to fail miserably at it because I haven't played it in forever. And we're gonna get good and see some of the coolest shit ever. It's really good. Yeah, heavy streams leave. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be anyone streaming that I know personally. So action figures the game, yes. It's the best Sentai game ever made. Oh, by the way, I'm planning to start like making my stream look nicer and doing some stuff, and yeah. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining me in this. As we suffered through, we didn't suffer through. We watched Michel suffer through a lot. Have a good night, y'all. Bye.